The Milwaukee Mile is the oldest continuously operated speedway, not just in America, but the world. And fairgrounds have played such a huge role in the beginnings of American auto racing. Here in Milwaukee, that history goes back to 1903. Of course, the track known for open-wheel racing, traditionally the first race after the Indy 500 for many years. Look at these guys: Mario Andretti, Al Unser, A.J. Foyt, Parnelli Jones, Montoya won here, and even Dale Earnhardt Jr. too. A look at some facts and figures about this Milwaukee Mile tells you that it's been here for a while.
Well, I tell you, this place has been here a long, long time, and even our old buddy sitting here to the right has come up and run a few laps around this venue.
Oh, I love this place. It's just got so much history to it. It's flat, it's fast, it's wide, and everybody in the world's run here. I tell you, it's a lot of fun.
Been here before the Indy 500. They've been racing here on this property. And you know, it's not just this track that has a great racing history. Wisconsin is one of the hotbeds of American short track racing. Has been for years. Just a few of the great Wisconsin drivers who've made their name in NASCAR. How about Dave Marcus? Drove with wingtips on. Just one of his trademarks.
He's one of the greatest drivers around. Big, tough guy, man.
One of your rivals from the short track days, Dick Trickle.
Over 2,000 short track victories. This cat can get it done.
Oh, man.
92 Cup champ, Alan Kulwicki.
Absolutely one of the greatest of all time. The champion of this sport, absolutely one of the greatest.
And a little closer to today, Matt Kenseth.
We know he knows how to win a championship in a lot of races, too.
And looking to carry on the great cheesehead tradition tonight, how about Scott Wimmer, who starts 12th? He's got some 80 friends, family up in the grandstands here cheering him on. They've got signs. They've all got white T-shirts with that Holiday Inn green logo on them. Was it Section 302 I'm hearing? There they are.
SWR, baby.
Scott Wimmer Racing. You got to love it, man. They're behind their guy.
The Wimmer gang's here, Shannon.
That's right. Just had an opportunity to take a lap around this track with Scott Wimmer. The fans are so excited to see their hometown boy here. Now, you were talking earlier about the fact that when you came here when you were younger, you thought about this track as the ultimate track. How many times have you envisioned yourself crossing that finish line and taking the checkered flag?
It's amazing. You know, ever since the 70s, I used to sit down there in turn one and watch the greatest race car drivers in the world race here. And it was always a dream to come to the Milwaukee Mile and race. And fortunately, I'm in an RCR car with Holiday Inn sponsoring it, and I have a good shot at winning it.
All right, and Scott Wimmer has like 40 family members here today, including his son, Hayden, who had the opportunity to take the ride around along with his dad.
How about that? Isn't that nice? There you go. Hey, Brad mentioned Rusty's got a pretty good history here too. Not going to let it go without some old school pictures. How about
Man, look at the fro daddy.
You guys, you're killing me, man.
Oh, look at that hairdo, baby.
But think about this.
Oh,
look at that
man. Go ahead now.
Mark's hating us right about
look at
now.
Mark Martin. He's like he's 12 years old.
5 wins here between 1979 and 1985. Pretty good place. For guys from the Midwest, this was a big deal.
Big deal. This was our Daytona 500. I mean, we thought about this race all the time, whether it was Dick Trickle, myself, Alec Quickie, Bob Seneca, the short track racers, everybody, Brad,
Boy.
They love coming to Milwaukee.
Absolutely some greats. And then when you say A.J. Foyt, you have said it all. And that's where this cat used to come and do a lot of racing. And he's raced against A.J. a ton here.
Oh, man, I got to beat that dude a couple times,
There
too.
you go. That's what I'm talking
That was
about.
a feather in my cap. I'll never forget that one.
And
then he beat the pants off me the following week. So.
Over the last 4 weeks, the Nationwide Series has raced on a variety of track sizes and shapes. Started at the Monster Mile in Dover about a month ago with a huge steeply banked track. It's now dropped to this place this weekend that's basically flat. That means because there's no banking, crew chiefs have to do a few things a little differently here. For more on that, we go to our Chevy Cutaway car and say hello tonight to Tim Brewer. Tim?
1 mile racetracks like Milwaukee, Wisconsin, they're flat. Take, for instance, 1 mile racetrack at Dover, Delaware. You got a lot of banking. How are we going to utilize the tire itself? We're going to adjust the camber in the thing. What that means, folks, we're actually going to lay the tire in at the top more. What that's going to do through the center of the corner, it's going to give it better compliance. Hold the tire to the ground. What we're interested in is grip. The bad side of that is if we put a lot of camber in, we can abuse the inside of the right front of the tire. And if we do that, that's where you might see some tire problems here in Milwaukee.
Something to watch for. Keep an eye on that inside edge of the right front tire when we do our pit reports throughout the night. Rusty, from behind the wheel, how is racing here on a track that's basically flat, different for a driver than on a bank track?
It's really tough. There's no banking to lean on that you get that grip from, guys. What happens when you pull in behind a car, you lose that downforce, and that baby just loses the front end. It's like driving on a gigantic skid pad.
Yep.
You know, the back end's trying to come out, the front end's trying to come out, and you're just trying to get all the grip you can. A lot of guys get right to the bottom of the racetrack. If that doesn't work, they go clear to the top of the track. But they got to try to stay out from behind a car. They got to get that clean air to make a pass, guys.
Absolutely, and this is old school racing. I mean, no fancy garages, none of that nonsense. I'll tell you what, we got 3 of the 4 Cup guys in the back. I'm eat up. I am flat eat up. I cannot wait for this race to start.
Look for some brake problems, though. You're going to see a lot of red rotors out there tonight, a lot of guys tearing their brakes up. That's one thing to look at.
All right, we got to get you upstairs. Got to go hike those grandstands so you can call a race for us, all right?
Get a little exercise, okay?
That's right. Burn off some of that dinner you had. All right, we'll talk to you a little bit later on in the show. There's Carl Edwards getting ready to always meet some of the VIPs with his sponsor and getting ready to climb aboard that thing and come from the back of the pack tonight. New crew chief all around. One of the young guys going to make a run in this field. The Braun car being run tonight by young James Boucher.
James did a great job qualifying. Got up there to 32nd. I've watched him in practice. He was very good.
David Rudeman getting ready to climb aboard his car. He starts 5th tonight. Who's going to win? We'll find out after 250 laps. Hey, delivery coming in.
Hey, how about some brats, baby?
Busy weekend of motorsports on the ESPN family of networks. Don't forget the NASCAR Now Sonoma pre-race edition tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. The IndyCar race tomorrow afternoon from Iowa, Rusty Wallace's Iowa Speedway. And our Monday night NASCAR Now Roundtable, of course, the NHRA coverage from Englishtown, New Jersey. More remembering Scott Coletta, who lost his life in a crash there today. Very tough day for the drag racing folks over there. Quick check on the championship standings for tonight before we get going.
Well, I tell you what, look what we got. We got Clint Boyer in the back. Brad Keselowski's up front. Have old Rover go get those slippers, get you a brat and a cold beverage. This is going to be a heck of a show tonight. I guarantee it, baby. Come on, let's get after it.
I'm ready to go after that. Let's go trackside for tonight's opening ceremony.
Race fans, at this time, please rise and remove your hats. Join me, please, for a moment of silence as the motorsports family today lost drag racer Scott Coletta. Godspeed. And now, the Wisconsin National Guard 32nd Red Arrow Brigade Color Guard presents our nation's colors. We welcome Wisconsin National Guard Chaplain Doug Hedman for our invocation. And performing our national anthem, we welcome Angela Sauter-Javier.
Gracious God, we have a lot to be thankful for you have truly blessed America. We are the land of the free and the home of the brave. We thank you for the citizens of this great nation as they support our families and service members, as they are deployed around the world to bring peace and harmony to people in other countries. At this time, we pray that you will have your shield of protection over them and bring them home safe and sound so that they can enjoy the wonderful things of this world, such as enjoying the Milwaukee Mile. Amen.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the
flavor to the ceremony. Some Milwaukee iron involved, as we're just a few miles from the world headquarters of Harley-Davidson. Now the NASCAR Nationwide Series drivers going to climb aboard, buckle in, get ready to go racing from the Milwaukee Mile. The command to start engines coming up when we come back.
Joey Logano is going to start on the pole.
He came in with a lot of height, but he has lived up to every single bit of it.
Kyle Busch, who has crashed off of turn number 2.
Unbelievable.
Joey Logano, can he win at the age of 18?
Getting ready to make history right here.
Boy, what a Father's Day present, because the 18-year-old is going to win at Kentucky.
Joe Gibbs Racing is the best, and Joey is the best, man. These guys are great.
How does this Father's Day compare to anything in the past?
Number one, baby, number one.
ESPN's coverage of the NASCAR Nationwide Series comes to you tonight from the famed Milwaukee Mile. It's the Camping World RV Rental 250 beginning just moments from now. It has been a beautiful day, but we will keep our eye on the skies. Last night's Craftsman truck race interrupted by a little lightning storm. Slight chance it could happen sometime tonight, though we see nothing on the horizon for the moment. Let's go upstairs to a man who really does appreciate the historical side of this place. Say hello and welcome back to Dr. Jerry Punch. Doc.
Thank you very much, AB. Nice job down there, you and Brad. And, you know, the sun was shining the last couple of weeks on some young stars for the Nationwide Series. First-time winners at Nashville and Kentucky. Could it happen tonight? Well, if you take a look at this list, it just might happen, because there have been 4 first-time winners here. In fact, the last 2 years in a row, Paul Menard, Eric Almirola, first-time winners in this race here tonight. Hello, everyone. Along with Rusty Wallace and Andy Petrie, I'm Jerry Punch. Glad to have you with us here at the Milwaukee Mile. Guys, I'm going to give you your due here. Now, 2 weeks ago in our on-camera, you picked Brad Keselowski. Last week you said Joey Logano was going to win. You were both right, but I'm going to put you on the spot tonight. Who among the young stars can break through with their first win here tonight?
Now get ready, Rusty. Your boy David Stremme is going to win the race tonight, and he's going to be added to that graphic we just saw as a first-time winner. That 64 car has been so strong the last few weeks, and David Stremme is ready to win.
I'll tell you what, guys, I'm going to pick Colin Braun. This guy ran so good out there in Mexico City. He ran good in the truck race tonight. He's running good here. He's kind of a Wisconsin guy. I got to throw my own kid into those, Steven. I know I'm not supposed to do that, but I think he's got a good shot, too.
You know, Colin Braun making only his 4th ever start, set on the pole at Mexico.
Yep.
And what does it mean? I mean, for Brad Keselowski and for Joey Logano, who won now their first race, can they relax, or is it going to be easier now to win race number 2?
Oh, it's a big sigh of relief for them. They've been there. They've done it. Now it's finished. Now they can concentrate more, trying to just get in the rhythm, in the groove, in the zone, so to speak, and win more of these things.
Now, not only do drivers want to start their career here, some guys want to jumpstart or restart their career, because there are some veterans who haven't won in quite a while. Look at that. Jason Keller could be a factor tonight. Mike Wallace, how about last year's champion, Carl Edwards, who a year ago this time had already won 4 races? Folks, he hasn't won in over a year, a 36-race winless streak. Go figure, as good as Carl is in the Nationwide car, how in the world he could not have won a race thus far here in 2008. Carl Edwards, one of 5 drivers who made the cross-country trek all the way from Sonoma, California, to come here and race tonight and chase that championship again. He is buckled up, as are all 43 of the NASCAR Nationwide Series drivers down trackside, getting set for what should be a barn burner here tonight. 250 laps at the historic Milwaukee Mile. Let's go down trackside to get the command to fire them up.
And to deliver the most famous words in motorsports, Grand Marshal of tonight's Camping World RV Rental 250, Camping World Chief Financial Officer Roger Nuttall.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
Fire it up. Fire it up. We have fire. Motor is running. We're ready to go. Motor's fired up. Engine is fired. Gauges look good. It's all about having fun right here, buddy. Let's pass a bunch of cars.
Well, to quote our own Brad Daugherty, we're getting ready to race, baby. That's what Brad would say. He's all fired up. Folks, 43 of NASCAR's finest, ready to rock and roll here at Milwaukee. When we come back, we'll talk to this guy, the driver of the Great Clips Toyota, Jason Leffler, who starts 9th tonight. He is our in-race reporter. We'll speak to Jason when we come back in a moment. The NASCAR Nationwide Series Camping World RV Rental 250 is being brought to you by Camping World RV Rentals, helping customers live every day like it's a Saturday. By Applebee's, it's a whole new neighborhood. And by Midas, for brakes, oil changes, tires, and more, trust the Midas touch. Take a look at our starting grid here, getting ready to roll away. 24-year-old Brad Keselowski got his first win 2 races ago, and tonight gets his first NASCAR Nationwide Series pole in his 51st race. 7th driver to score his first NASCAR Nationwide Series pole at Milwaukee. And while you watch to see where your favorite driver is going to start, we'll visit with our in-race reporter, the driver of the Great Clips Toyota, Jason Leffler, who starts 9th tonight.
Hey, Jason Leffler, Rusty Wallace, ESPN, you got us?
I got you guys loud and clear. How's it going?
Pretty good. Hey, buddy, I remember last year when you won at Indianapolis Raceway Park in that short track. It's pretty flat, kind of like this track. Do you think that win last year is really going to help your car and that setup for today's race?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we've always run really good here at Milwaukee. I think we got a 4th and a 3rd here the last 2 years, and car's pretty good here. You know, just it's a slick old racetrack. It's a lot like ORP, so we'll just have to wait it out and see.
All right, buddy, good deal. Our next question, we got an ESPN mailbag question, and it comes from Linda in Newton, Massachusetts. The question is, what is the difference in driving on a high bank track like Dover, Delaware versus a low bank track like Milwaukee?
Well, obviously, there's a lot less grip on a low bank track. You know, you don't have that banking to hold your car there. You slide around a lot more, and the speed's not nearly as big. But, you know, it's fun. The NASCAR schedule's so good that you have all these different racetracks we can run on. And today we're short track racing, so looking forward to it.
All right, buddy, thanks for talking to us. Keep the fenders on that thing.
Sure.
Calling his shots tonight for Jason will be crew chief Paul Wolf. Let's visit with Paul.
Hey, Paul Wolf, Andy Petrie up here in the booth. You got us?
Yeah, loud and clear, Andy.
Paul, great job qualifying that car in the top 10. These flat tracks are really hard to pass on, and we see strategy moves all the time on these kind of tracks. So what do you guys expect tonight?
Well, tires seem to be pretty big in practice, so, you know, I feel like, you know, you hate to give up track position, but I think you're going to see everybody coming for tires. We get the opportunity. They're going to need to grip. So, you know, we just got to find that balance, keep them turning good, but still being able to drive off, you know. So it's pretty slick out there.
You have your car set up where you can adjust on the chassis. You got a lot of like rubbers in the springs and things that you can change to chase this racetrack tonight?
Yeah, we got some adjustability built into it there, so we'll see. It's cooled down here now, and we'll see what the track's got, and we'll tune on it all night. Hopefully we can bring the Great Clips Toyota home up front.
Okay, Paul, you and Jason have a great race. Good luck.
All right, thanks, Andy.
We will have 8 high-definition onboard cameras tonight. Mike Bliss starts 2nd in the Miccosukee Chevrolet. Finished 12th last night in the Truck Series race. Clint Boyer, points leader, has to go to the back of the pack after missing qualifying in the BB&T Chevrolet. Mike Wallace starts 25th in the Geico Toyota. Colin Brown starts 10th in the City Financial Ford. Kenny Wallace 34th, making his 400th career start. The U.S. Border Patrol Chevrolet. Happy anniversary to Kenny. Scott Wimmer, the Wisconsin native. Big contingent here tonight for him. Starts 12th in the Holiday Inn Chevrolet. Cale Gale starts 20th in the Camping World Ford. And you've already heard from Jason Leffler in our Great Clips Toyota, carrying our fresh from Florida onboard camera. And another high-definition camera. There is Jerry Kelly, who is the rear tire changer out of Jackson, Michigan for Jason Leffler. 26-year-old Jerry comes from a family of open-wheel racers. Father and grandfather all ran sprint cars early in his career. Well, how about some final stories from the pits? First, here's Dave Burns.
And Doc, this is a one-day show at this racetrack. So this morning was the first time that Nationwide Series cars took to the track. This morning was the very first time that Landon Castle got any laps in a Nationwide car. But he did himself a favor. He got a ride in the Craftsman Truck Series race last night at this very racetrack. He finished 3rd. Crew Chief Chad Walter told me that allowed him to learn this racetrack. And with this very short schedule today, when we went to work, Landon already knew the track and we could work on the race car. Good advantage for a young driver. Mike?
Well, Dave, David Stremme comes here to Milwaukee looking for a little bit of indication. Why? Back in 2004, he had a nearly 1 second advantage, but as he says, he made a rookie mistake. He went into turn number 1, hit the marbles, washed up the racetrack, and opened up the door for Ron Hornaday, who eventually went on to win. Stremme says that's the most regrettable moment of his racing career. It's the one that got away. Tonight he feels he has a very good race car and is looking to make up for that moment back in 2004 and become the third first-time winner in as many weeks. Shannon?
Well, Mike, 5 drivers made the cross-country trip from Sonoma to Milwaukee, over 2,100 miles. Now, only one of them, David Rudiman, made it here in time for qualifying. Therefore, the other 4 must start from the back of the field. Now, that includes your defending series champion, Carl Edwards, who has another challenge he has to face here this evening besides just starting from the back. And that's the fact that he's working with a brand new crew chief in Drew Blickensderfer. Now, this is the first time these two are going to work together. In fact, Blickensderfer told me that the first conversation that they had was earlier this week when the team made the announcement. But this change is exactly what the team is hoping for to kickstart this season. Doc?
Thank you very much, guys. This is a 250-lap race here tonight on a 1-mile racetrack. 250 laps equals 250 miles. There's a pit road speed. Pit window could be important on fuel. Essentially no banking here tonight, 9 degrees. And guys, how about some sleepers to keep an eye on? Andy?
Kelly Byers, the number 47 car. He's a hometown or home state guy. That's my man. I think he's motivated to win this race.
Tell you what, Jason Keller's qualified really well. He's qualifying 4th. He's my sleeper to win this thing tonight.
Jason Keller's last win came right here back in 2003. Top 5s and 6 of the last 7 times he's come here. Could it be tonight, his night, to go to victory lane? How about a third first-time winner? Fans on their feet, glad to have you with us here in Wisconsin, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, for NASCAR Nationwide Series action. Brad Keselowski, Mike Bliss, Landon Castle, the 18-year-old there in the 5 car. The 99 is David Rudiman. Remember, he did get here in time, barely got here in time from California to qualify his car. Did a phenomenal job to start 5th here. That's why the 99 car is that close to the front, and the other Cup guys had to go to the rear of the field.
But right now, guys, you're right, Jerry. Going to the rear of the field is a tough thing to get from the back to the front. But right now, it looks like we got a pretty good start. Everybody fought to get to the bottom of the track. This is a flat racetrack. You don't want to be hung outside.
You can see why it's so hard to pass on such a flat racetrack, because these cars are just sliding through the corners. You can see them right there. It's really hard to get an advantage on that guy.
You know, running around this racetrack's like running around a big skid pad. The cars slide all over the place, but I'll tell you one thing that's going to happen. This race is starting during the day, and it's pretty bright out there right now. When this baby ends, it's going to be dark. The track's going to have a lot more grip, and it's going to change big time.
Last few weeks, this series has been on bank tracks. Dover, Charlotte, Kentucky, Nashville. No banking here tonight, and that's going to be a huge transition for both crews and drivers.
Boy, it really is, Jerry. And I'll tell you what, as this race gets going on, it gets a little physical. You start touching guys in a rear bumper. Andy, they get down into turn 1 and turn 3, and they arc off in those corners. They're holding on for dear life. One little tap and a bumper sends them right around.
This is essentially a short track, and those bumpers will get used tonight. It's one tool these guys can use to move somebody out of the groove and get that preferred spot.
Some of the drivers said it's sort of like a big Martinsville. It's hard to get the car to turn, and you don't mind leaning on people with a little bit of bumper.
It's almost the exact same thing as Martinsville. As a matter of fact, you run very close to the same setups here that you would at a half-mile track like Martinsville.
Well, you guys heard a lot back in Bristol, Tennessee, the bump and run. Jeff Gordon did it to me. People have done it to other people, and you see a 3-wide race. That's what's going to happen. Just like you said, there'll be a bump and run. They'll actually slide to get out of the way and make some passes doing it that way.
Here's the 2 car. Our points leader, Clint Boyer, had to go to the back of the pack after Stephen Light did a great job to qualify this car in the top 10. The 2 is Boyer working his way from the back. There's the 6 of David Reagan.
Clint Boyer's not doing any bumping, but he's sure doing some running right now. He's running around these cars pretty fast, making up some good spots.
Well, I'll tell you, this is a lot better car Clint Boyer has than most of the field that he's trying to pass right now. You see Joey Logano leading Jason Keller right there. Joey's had a pretty good car in practice, not great, but Jason's had a pretty great car. I mean, he qualified 4th. Be interested to see what happens tonight.
One of the cars that we talked about, we were just shocked at the fact that reigning series champion Carl Edwards had not won. Folks, early on, lap 6, he has gained 19 positions. He's come from 39th to 20th. This car and this driver are on a mission tonight.
This is definitely one of the guys that needs to win a race. They've made a lot of changes on this car. New crew chief this week. Looks like they got a little different dynamic going down there in the garage area. Well, getting the car set up.
Andy, I think they're better prepared this weekend. They got Eric Darnell, who drove the truck race last night, did a great job, finished second last week in Michigan, and he's been here the whole time working on this car. Kind of a veteran driver, been there, done that, and that's really going to help Carl.
Here are the double duty drivers that qualified, and that's where the cars were qualified by substitutes, and that's where they currently are. And you see Rudeman, Edwards, Boyer, and Reagan. Of course, Marcus Ambrose, also one of the drivers running on the West Coast, and had to come back here as well.
It's a battle for 8th spot at Colin Braun. Our in-race reporter, Jason Leffler. Get those Jasons mixed up all the time. Jason Keller, Jason Leffler.
I'll tell you, Colin, I picked him as a guy that could win this race, maybe a first-time winner. Up here from Wisconsin area, and I watched him run up there in Mexico City, and man, this guy drove like a veteran. It wouldn't surprise me if he has a good top 5, maybe even a top 10, maybe even a top 5 finish.
There's Joey Logano in the 20 car. Talk about different decades. The 11 car, Jason Leffler, 439 starts. Here's the 16. You talked about Colin Brown, young man who sat on the pole in Mexico. He was homeschooled. In his home, they had a go-kart track around their house, so he would get to go out during recess and drive go-karts as a kid. Mom and dad, his dad is an engineer for an open-wheeled road racing team, so he grew up around racing, had a steering wheel in his hand from the time he was 4 years old. And it's paying off now.
It's kind of like Pop said, hey, we're going to keep you at home, we're going to keep you at the racetrack, and I can't send you to school, so we'll teach you right here, keep your head in the game. So that's a pretty cool way to do it. Take a look at Brad Keselowski right here, guys. Right on the bottom of the racetrack. Got a good-looking run. The car's got a good attitude to it. Early here in the run, we're, only 10 laps into this thing, but it's already stretched out a little bit of the lead.
Started on the pole for the first time tonight in his 51st race. First pole for Brad Keselowski and the Navy team for JR Motorsports. But the big night for Brad Keselowski came 2 weeks ago. In his 49th career start, the young man on the outside front row and realized a dream as he went to victory lane in Nashville, Tennessee, Music City, and Keselowski sang a tune. Welcome back to the Camping World RV Rental 250. We're in the early laps here at the historic Milwaukee Mile. Young Brad Keselowski is our leader. Mike Bliss in second. David Rudeman third, Landon Castle fourth, Kelly Byers is fifth, then Joey Logano and Jason Keller. But one of the cars we're keeping an eye on, and boy, what an effort, is reigning series champion Carl Edwards. And we've been calling Carl out and saying, where are you, Carl? Well, guess what, folks? Cousin Carl is back tonight. He has now gained 24 positions from having to go to the back of the pack, and is just picking them off one at a time here on lap 17.
He is on the move. We've been watching him pass car after car, lap after lap. He is coming to the front. Mike Nassar, you got more on Carl Edwards?
Well, yeah, obviously we've talked about the crew chief change, Andy, and that can shake up the chemistry. I spoke with Drew Blickensderfer just before the race, and he said the feeling he had this weekend was a little bit uneasy. One, because he was leaving Matt Kenseth, a guy he's worked with for years, and two, going to a guy he's really never worked with. But at the same time, he's had to learn Carl's style. In order to do that, he actually went to Carl's spotter on the Cup side of things, Bobby Hudson, to try to learn a few things about what Carl likes, how he likes to drive the car, in order to help him set the car up. It's all about learning his driver, and that's what Drew's trying to do here in week one.
Whoa, trouble in the turn here. The 27 car involved. Two cars. One is Mike Wallace, a 7. The other one, the 27,
oh,
Brad
got
Cole.
another car involved.
And now Mike Wallace trying to get his car turned around. There was contact over in the 7 car trying to get it turned around. There is Mike, former winner here, one of 2 former winners in this show tonight at Milwaukee.
Take a look at that damage on the side there, Jerry. It looks like he pulled up, is trying to get going, and that lap car come around and drove right in the side of him. Let's take a look at this one time here. 3 wide. Whoa, gets a little touch from Boyer. That's not done yet here. He's going to spin. A car's going to go to the top to try to avoid him.
It's like Might be Brian Keselowski comes in here.
Stay on it. I'll tell you what, he's going to pull up here in a second. It looked like watching him. He gets hit in the side again.
Yeah, poor Brad Coleman is just an innocent victim. And there's just a slight tap from the 2. Takes Coleman around.
Just hard racing, really. This is the other car involved right here coming into the picture.
Here we go right here.
Yeah, it was.
That's the one I was trying to get to, guys.
It was Brian Keselowski, Brad's older brother there in the 92 car.
In there.
Just a tap. But that's just how hard these flat tracks are. I mean, they're at the edge of the grip all the way around the racetrack. If you just touch somebody, you can just you can see what can happen.
Outside, 3 wide. You're on the bottom. Clear high.
When you see Clint just try to make it 3 wide on the bottom and stayed in the throttle and got in the back of Mike, and I don't know if I'd be that aggressive early in a race like this, guys.
This first caution flag of the day will give Brad Teague the Aaron's Lucky Dog free pass. He's the first car a lap down. He will be able to get back on the lead lap as we have 20 laps to book, and we'll come back to Milwaukee in just a moment. The historic Milwaukee Mile opened up in 1903 and has hosted some of the greatest names in motorsports over the last century. The list of who's won here read like a who's who in racing. Barney Oldfield, Rex Mays, Parnelli Jones, Foyt, Jimmy Clark, the Youngsters, Andretti's. They've all been here and they've all enjoyed the Wisconsin State Fair Park. Next week, the Nationwide Series moves to the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Last year, Kevin Harvick dominated from the pole, leading the most laps and winning the race. Harvick became the 21st different winner in 21 New Hampshire races. Since the first race dating back to 1990, there has never been a repeat winner. Could we see 22 in a row next week? Our coverage begins Saturday, 2:30 on ABC. Under caution for the first time here this afternoon, the 2 car. Our points leader Clint Boyer involved in a little bit of a shunt over there with the 7 car of Mike Wallace. Let's listen in to Clint Boyer's radio.
I mean, I couldn't get down any farther right there. Don't worry about it. It wasn't your fault. You know, you saw it coming up on us, so.
Well, Rusty, whose fault is it?
Well, you know, the crew chief's always going to back up their driver every single time, even if he was wrong. But all I can tell you is that it was 3 wide going in there. Mike's up against a lap car, or not a lap car, but Brad Coleman. He couldn't get any higher. Hey, it's just racing accident. I thought it was just a little too early in the race to get that aggressive, though. I really did.
The 60 car, Carl Edwards, was on pit road. Mike?
Well, Doc, he was on pit road. You saw him make up all that ground coming from the back, but he wasn't completely pleased with his race car. It was tight in the center and loose off, so they made a quick adjustment to the track bar. No tires, just fuel, and they were away. But they want that car to be perfect if they're going to charge from the back to the front. And obviously, he's looking to snap a rather large winless streak that goes back well over a year.
Drew Blickensderfer, the top 17 cars did not pit, so that means that Carl Edwards, Bobby Hamilton, Wimmer, Stanton Barrett, Chase Miller, Marcus Ambrose, Brian Clausen, some of those guys, these guys are the ones that did come on the pit road. But Brad Keselowski, Mike Bliss, Rudiman Kessel, and the top 17 stayed on the racetrack. And that's who will lead them down to the green here at lap 24.
Mike Bliss taking a look right here.
And boy, he's on that newer asphalt on the bottom, which gives you a little bit better grip. And Keselowski just holds on an exit of turn 2. Fend him off. And on these restarts, guys, these tires have cooled down. They got better grip, and they strike really fast. They try to make a pass as quick as they can. It'll calm down a little bit now.
If you let the guy string out too far, it does make it a lot harder to get these spots. When they're all clumped up together, you can actually get maybe 1 or 2 spots a lap if you got a good car.
Well, you hit the nail on the head there, Andy. I mean, you need to grab them when you can grab them.
Battle for 8th position here. Jason Leffler, the 16 car. That is Todd Brown. Colin Brown, I should say, and David Strimmy. Eddie, I know it is spelled Braun, but it is pronounced Brown. It's Colin Brown. Whoa, Strimmy trying to stay out of the back of that Ford.
And you see, guys, Strimmy's trying to keep that nose down underneath and get that clean air so to get good downforce on, especially on this flat racetrack. Guys, it is everything in the world to try not to follow a guy. You want that air going to your nose to help that thing turn.
It's like Strimmy's car is a little bit loose. You can see how he's going back and forth on the steering wheel and not able to stay underneath the 16 car. of Colin Brown.
Good observation there, Andy, but I'll tell you one thing, it's going to change a lot. When this racetrack cools down, it's going to tighten up a lot. And a lot of these loose cars are going to get a lot better.
This lead's tightened up a little bit. Mike Bliss is right on the back bumper of Brad Keselowski.
Hey guys, Mike Bliss ran the truck race here last night, had a good run, ran in the top 10 much of the night, finished 12th. How much does that help a driver, particularly even though he's been around here a lot, to be able to run this kind of 1 mile track 2 nights in a row?
It's got to help a lot when you're at the same racetrack, on this style of racetrack, more of a short track. I mean, I really think that it helps him a lot to get used to the track and what's happening.
Pretty good battle here. The 32 car involved in, how about the 25, Bobby Hamilton Jr. in that fray, Marcus Ambrose. And the 66 car behind them, a bit of a wild ride for Stephen Wallace. Let's take a look. Watch Stephen here.
Oh, into the wall and tears the right side up in the car. And that's got to hurt the handle. It looks like the right front's actually bent in that car, the camber.
Yeah, you can see the fender is definitely knocked in on the right front. That's a pretty good lick right there.
Well, I believe they're going to have to pay for that a lot tonight. It looks like the camber on that right front. Maybe not. They're going to at least have to get some tires and get the fenders pulled off in the next pit stop.
He was running in 11th position and trying to stay in front of Clint Boyer. Here is the battle now for 9th spot as Strimmy again trying to get underneath the Ford of Colin Brown.
Well, he's not giving up on this battle. He finally got him here. Well, here comes Brown on the outside.
Just started to say, got a lot of momentum on the outside, and it's not over till you clear him. It looks like he's finally cleared him now.
David Strimmy, 2 runner-up finishes this year in the 64 car, still trying to get that very first ever NASCAR Nationwide Series win. This is the 117th career start, but right now the one they're chasing is the Navy Chevy. For Brad Keselowski, he's our leader. Welcome back to the Milwaukee Mile NASCAR Nationwide Series action. And that guy right there, Brad Keselowski, was our pole sitter and has led all 34 laps thus far. We're on lap 35. Keselowski picking up his first career pole. Behind him is the one of Mike Bliss. Then David Rudiman. Great job for Rudiman. By the way, give a call to Mike Skinner for setting that car up. Landon Castle is 4th. Kelly Byers 5th. And back in 6th spot is last week's winner, Joey Logano, the 18-year-old who's trying to get 2 wins in a row. Let's go down and hear some more from him with Shannon.
Yeah, Joey Logano coming off a tremendous weekend last weekend. Now, this team has been battling tight conditions all day today. In fact, they were the very last car out of the garage before they came out and lined up for qualifying. Something else that they were battling during practice today was a pulsation of the brakes, something that they are experiencing right now. Now, they're going to leave Joey on the track and just see what happens. But for more on that pulsation and what it does to the brakes, here's Tim Brewer at the Chevy Cutaway car.
Shannon, what we've got right here is the pad, the rotor itself. Anytime you overheat the rotor, what it does, it actually warps it. And when you feel pulsation in the pad back through the pedal assembly, it's actually pushing the pad back like that, causing the thing to actually oscillate, pump up and down as you go down in the corner when you put the brake on the car. But it's not a very good condition, but sometimes the brake pads get glazed up right here, and maybe this is not on it, and maybe that's causing it. But I'd say that the pads were probably in good shape, but the rotor was just too hot. Doc?
Thanks, Tim. How do you fix that, guys?
You don't fix it during the race. That's one thing for sure. And this is one of those tracks where the brakes are a very important element. You go so fast down these straightaways, and the turns being so flat, you've got to slow the car down a lot to make that corner. And if you can't do that, you just have to start backing off the throttle earlier and earlier, and your lap times really suffer.
Yeah, you're exactly right as far as backing out. You know, when you have this pulsation, yeah, as a driver, the only way I could ever have fixed it was just slow down, not go in the corner as deep, and stay off the brakes and let them cool back down a little bit. That helps them a lot.
Well, one driver who isn't cooling it at all is the 99 car of David Rudiman. He just took the 2nd spot away from Mike Bliss. And Rudiman, by the way, is driving the same car that he won with at Memphis last year. That car has not raced at all in 2008. And last time he drove it, he went to victory lane. Here's a pretty good battle. We told you how you're going to have to cool those brakes. And that 20 car of Joey Logano now moving in, not cooling much, trying to get after Leffler for 7th spot.
Well, he's giving that spot up to Leffler. He's just going to have to chill out here a little while and see if this thing, if he can get those brakes to kind of calm down a little. Maybe as the night cools off and the air cools down, it might come back. How about Jason Leffler, Shannon?
Yeah, Jason Leffler was saying when this race started, he thought he may have gotten a little bit of right front fender damage from hitting the number 16 car. They did not bring that car down pit road, obviously, where he's running right now, but it is something that the team is keeping their eye on. Jason just thinking there's a little damage to that car, guys.
A little bit of fender damage, and welcome to Milwaukee, huh, guys?
Yeah, it might get worse before it gets better.
Yeah, you got a lot more right front fender damage because you're always trying to pass the guy underneath. Very seldom are you pass him on the outside. Pretty easy. And when you get that fender damage, you lose that downforce, you lose the handling.
15th, 16th, and 17th on the track there, battling Carl Edwards in 15th spot. That's Cale Gale, by the way, in the 33 car, the Kevin Harvick incorporated car. Looking back from Cale, that's 14th position. And behind them is the 59 that Robert Presley qualified for Marcus Ambrose. There is Marcus, who will start 7th in Sonoma in his NASCAR Sprint Cup debut on Sunday. Dave.
And Doc Marcus Ambrose making his first cross-country trip between Sonoma and here. That's right, he qualified for the Sprint Cup race out in Sonoma, and I asked him what it was like doing the cross-country thing, and he said, you know, I jumped in the airplane, in his best Aussie accent, of course, jumped in the airplane, and I felt like James Bond, but my guys, I told him I probably looked more like Maxwell Smart. But he's had a great time. He's in both shows, and right now they fixed that race car in the first stop. It was very, very tight. They put a spring rubber in the right rear and made a wedge adjustment. What does he look like now? Does he look like Bond or Smart right now?
Thanks, Dave. Yeah, Marcus Ambrose did a great job qualifying the Wood Brothers car, start 7th, and obviously was a quick car in the final session. Had a little shunt with the wall. They were repairing the car, and he will keep his starting spot on Sunday. Trying to get his first NASCAR Nationwide Series win tonight, but he's got some work cut out for him because this is the guy right here that nobody can catch right now. Brad Keselowski, although David Rudiman looks like he may be moving in.
Huge weekend of racing on the ESPN family of networks. NASCAR Now gets you ready for the Sonoma Cup race tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. NHRA Race Day and the NHRA Super Nationals. Of course, they'll have more on the tragic loss today in the qualifying crash of Scott Coletta over at Englishtown, and coverage of the IndyCar race as well from Rusty Wallace's Iowa Speedway. NASCAR Now Monday Roundtable, all that coming up in the next couple of days. Brad Keselowski is the leader, as he has for the first 1/4 of this race, as we're about to hit 50 laps of 250. Actually, that'll be 1/5, huh?
Absolutely 1/5.
What we got going now, Brad? Little strategy shuffle going on.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to have some pit stops coming up here relatively soon, and what it looks like, it goes all the way back to 13th position with Scott Wimmer. He's the guy who's ahead of all those who did pit, so it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out when they start pitting and they start chopping for positions.
See Scott Wimmer and Carl Edwards running nose to tail there. Wimmer, the Holiday Inn car. Edwards behind him as they try and pass David Stremme. Wimmer and Edwards, the farthest forward of the guys who took tires under the caution lap 21. Mr. Petrie, if you're the guys ahead of them and the caution comes out, you're going to stop. What about Wimmer and Edwards? You think they'll come in if we see a caution here quickly?
Alan, I think they will now because we've run enough laps that we're going to see these guys come down pit road. But these tires have given them an advantage. You see Scott Wimmer, he's still making tracks in the front. But Carl Edwards, they just made some adjustments on his car and did not waste a set of tires. They didn't take tires on their pit stop, but Scott Wimmer did. And you can see Edwards is staying right with him. So when this caution comes out, I expect all of these guys will be on pit road.
Flat racetracks can't afford to give up much. There's the 20 car and the 11. Pretty good battle there. The 38, 11, and 20. That's 6th, 7th, and 8th. Leffler, Keller, and Logano.
Logano is still kind of fighting that brake problem that he's had. And we see some of these brake rotors glowing red. So you know that brake system is taxed very heavily on a flat track like this.
Boy, if you're having a brake problem, only 53 laps in a race, you got a long night ahead of you. They got to just be careful right now and just take it nice and easy. Maybe get a little more tape off the front so you get better airflow. They need to work at it. You see the front of the 88 car, it's got a lot of tape on it. He could even cool it down if he was having a problem. That's how much they're trying to get the downforce, but you can cool the brakes off by pulling that tape off.
Rusty, I know we talked in the garage area yesterday, and a lot of these guys use the brakes and the way they set the car to be able to get it to turn, but it's also a different way. Watch this 88 car, how the left front of that car actually goes down first entering the corner, and it seems to turn so easy.
Yeah, it's definitely a noticeable thing that's going on with that car, the 88 car of Brad Keselowski. 3 wide racing right here down in turn 1 and 2. They're getting it done, though. You know, going back to Keselowski, I was watching that car in practice today, Jerry. The 5 car at Castle.
Oh, trouble in turn 2, and Strimmy goes around. And the caution will come out for the second time today. No harm, no foul. Looks like he didn't hit anything.
Okay, now we're going to see if that plays out, if these guys will come down pit road, Scott Wimmer and those guys that got tires in that first caution, or if they'll stay out.
Strimmy's got some left rear damage. Something happened there. Looks like he didn't do that himself.
Well, he doesn't have too much damage.
If we can see what happened, there's Strimmy and Carl Edwards coming in behind him.
Whoops. Looks like Carl got just a little piece of the bumper. Great job by David, though, not hitting anything.
Yeah, thank gosh. That cost me a lot of money.
You can afford it.
Oh, come on, man.
Caution for the second time tonight here, coming out on lap 54, David Strimmy. Still looking for that elusive first win of the NASCAR Nationwide Series. Brad Keselowski has led all 55 laps thus far in the 88 car from his pole position. Rudeman, Bliss, Castle, all these guys that have not yet been on pit road. Very thankful to see the yellow flag here coming out as we move in on 60 laps.
Brad Keselowski is going to lead the parade down pit road, and we're going to be watching, just like Alan Bestwick said a while ago, to see if some of these other guys will come. Scott Wimmer, he took tires earlier.
The lucky dog, by the way, the Aaron's lucky dog was Stephen Wallace in the 66 car, able to get back on the lead lap. He was the first car a lap down. Now he gets back on the lead lap, putting 30 cars on the lead lap. Now, folks, this pit road is very difficult. We are told from NASCAR it is one of the pit roads that it's very easy for a driver to speed on. 35 mile per hour pit stops. Remember, you have to turn hard left and then back to the right to get on pit road here, and it's easy to try to goose the car and get caught speeding entering. So it happened in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race last night. Got to be careful it doesn't happen here in the Nationwide race tonight. There's the entrance to pit road. Tricky to get on, and here comes the 88 car down as we head down for our Castrol GTX triple pits.
See all these guys coming down pit road.
Let's go to Dave.
And Doc, even tougher for a rookie like James Buescher, only his 3rd NASCAR Nationwide Series race. It'll be a second stop on pit road, so we won't need that much Sunoco race fuel, but his car is still a little bit loose in. He'll need a wedge adjustment to help that, and 4 fresh tires. Mike.
And Kelly Byers has been running inside the top 5 all evening long, despite the fact that his car has been incredibly tight, much too tight for his liking. The adjustment is to take some wedge out and drop the front air pressures on the 47 car. Shannon?
And Keselowski says he's loose, but he told his team, I'm fast because I'm loose, so don't tighten me up too much. Air pressure, 4 tires for your race leader.
Oh, crowded off of pit road. Logano off of pit road. Remember, there he is losing his spot there. Contact with the 99, and big loser there. Rudeman losing 3 positions. There is the 20 car of Joey Logano. We told you it was tight and treacherous here in the pits at Milwaukee, and you got a prime example of that. Sun is setting on the historic Milwaukee Mile, but we're getting ready for fired up racing here in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. Welcome back to the Milwaukee Mile under caution for the second time tonight. Let's show you just what happened. The log jam leaving pit road a moment ago. 18-year-old Joey Logano involved in a little bit of a shunt. Wide side of your screen, watch the 99 car, Rudeman coming out. There's Leffler. Here comes the 20 car. And a little bit of contact there with Logano and David Rudeman. If you're wondering what our points leader might have seen, Clint Boyer, take a look from his onboard camera.
Hey, one lane.
It's almost like this pit road funnels down at the end, so you have a little bit of room up in the middle of pit road, but then it narrows up so much, not enough room for everybody to leave at the same time.
Well, you can see it right there, Andy, where it just funnels right down. Just like you said, it's almost, you know, right in this area. It's pretty wide, and then all of a sudden you run out of room real quick.
Restart here. Back up front. Brad Keselowski was now led 58 of the 59 laps as they begin lap 60 here at Milwaukee. By the way, for you David Rudiman fans, he came into the pits running in second spot, came out in fifth. He lost 3 positions with that shunt off of pit road.
I'll tell you what, guys, the air pressure on these tires are awful low on the start. Like 10 pounds on the left-hand side, like 28 pounds in the right side. It's awful low. It takes about 4 laps for the pressure to build up. Well, these guys can actually get aggressive with the wheel.
What does it actually feel like when the tires, when you go down in the corner of that first lap on those cold tires, low air pressure, what does the driver feel?
It just feels real mushy, real rubbery, kind of bouncy. You ever sat on one of those big rubber balls trying to exercise? It kind of moves around on you. That's what the steering feels like, real delayed action. Shannon.
Yeah, guys, the word from the 20 camp right now is no major damage on that 20 car from that pit road incident. But his crew chief, Joey Logano's crew chief, Dave Rogers, told his driver that this is something he's going to have to watch the rest of the race. They're going to be in this pit stall all night long. So those tight pit road conditions are something that they're going to have to work on. Joey Logano did say, you know, this is a really tough pit stall for me. How did I get this one? And Dave Rogers said, sorry, man, if I would have gotten you a little faster in qualifying, then we could have had that first pit stall.
Right now, Logano under attack from Wimmer, and the leader is under attack from Mike Bliss. Couple of Chevys going at it. Bliss will have the position entering the turn.
And that's all about taking advantage on these restarts with the grippy tires, the low tire pressure. And that's one thing Bliss knows. I mean, this cat has run those trucks where you got to get real aggressive, and he understands when you got to get it done on these restarts.
And now the one car, Mike Bliss, has that clean air. See him running up high on the racetrack. I saw him do this in qualifying. He actually ran up on the racetrack a lot higher than a lot of guys.
Back in the pack, Carl Edwards in the 60 car. Started at the back, gained 19 spots in 6 laps, has pitted, and now is trying to work his way back through the pack. 60 is Edwards, 2 Clint Boyer. Of course, the 20 is Logano. That is 8th, 9th, and 10th.
I tell you, this is the best I've seen Carl run in a long time. They get this car handling much better than they have a lot during this year. But it still doesn't have the right look. Andy, we were talking about it. The car's so high in the air. The left front air dam's up in the air. But it's looked like he's passing some cars that way. But I just wonder if it's got staying power long in the run.
Well, there's more than one way to skin a cat. You can just, you can do it with a lot of shock and sway bar and soft springs. But some drivers like a little different feel, and I see this in Carl Edwards' car a lot. I see his car is up in the front, so he might want something just a little different than some of these guys. We see Brad Keselowski's car, that 88 car, it's been just slammed right on the ground, really hugging you can see how it is right on the ground.
Like a real rigid setup, like a go-kart, where it's real go-karty, real rigid. And Carl looks like he likes a lot more limber car. Rolls around a little bit, stuff like that.
Got a glimpse a moment ago of those brake pads on the 88 car. Now that he's no longer leading and he's chasing someone, you saw the brake pads growing red there on the 88. Here they are as he went in the corner.
You use a ton of brake here, and I have been seeing that out of this 88 car. And now what that does over time, it actually heats up that right front tire, makes the car push some.
Battle for 6th position. Landon Castle being shown in 4th. Rudiman is 5th, and behind him, Kelly Byers, and then Wimmer. Boy, Scott Wimmer, the Wisconsin native, has got a huge contingent of fans here in the stands tonight, and how special would it be for him if he could pull one off here at the home track?
You know this is a special track, and Kelly Byers also, he's from Wisconsin. This is a hometown battle here.
I tell you what, if they wanted any extra horsepower or adrenaline, they want it here because they got all these screaming fans from Wisconsin just rooting Kelly on and rooting Scott on. And I tell you, both these guys' cars look real good. The first 67 laps of this race now, they've been in the hunt the whole time. They're looking good.
Yeah, Kelly Byers from Austin, Wisconsin, and Wimmer from Wausau, Wisconsin. Both of these drivers less than 200 miles. Their hometown's 200 miles from where we are right here in Milwaukee.
You see how hard these guys are racing right here. They're still running lap times just as fast as the leader, Mike Bliss.
That's pretty wild. They can run that good back in the pack, and Bliss is running basically the same speed leading the race, but makes you wonder if they get in the clear how much faster they can run.
Lap 69 of 250, Mike Bliss and Brad Keselowski. Yeah, it's a 1 mile track, but they make a lot of noise here with those bumpers and fenders.
The double-duty drivers do a couple different things for us. When you beat them, they add confidence, and they legitimize the series.
If I can get on the racetrack and follow Kyle Busch or Matt Kenseth or Denny Hamlin or something like that, you know, they've got a lot of experience and definitely helped me as a driver.
If you want to be a Cup driver, you're going to have to race against these guys anyway, so you can learn even sooner in the Nationwide Series.
You're not thinking about, you know, it's Casey Kanan, Kyle Busch, or Tony Stewart, all those guys. It's not that big of a deal. There's still 43 cars out there like every other week.
Got to race with them, got to beat them. If you want to win a NASCAR Nationwide Series race, the double-duty Cup drivers, there are 5 of them in the field tonight. But right now, it's these Nationwide Series regulars at the head of the pack. Mike Bliss leading Brad Keselowski after 75 laps. Double-duty guys have come from the back. Carl Edwards and Clint Boyer running 8th and 10th so far, Brad. But these guys, they've looked tough.
Absolutely. I mean, since the start of the race, you know, obviously Clint Boyer and Carl Edwards both have passed over 30 cars working their way towards the front. And into that segment right there, we heard a lot of good on both sides. Yes, you need to race with these guys. Yep. You need to follow and learn from them. But as Joey Logano said, hey, we're out here to beat these guys. They're just another race car that I've got to pass. I like that attitude.
Opportunity race take 3. Let's get an update on some of these guys trying to take advantage of the opportunity of having a fewer Cup drivers in the field. We go up to speed with Nationwide Insurance, starting with Shannon. Who are you going to talk about, Shannon?
Well, let's start with Brad Keselowski, someone who certainly capitalized on the opportunity here in the last 3 weeks. Now, Brad Keselowski, I spoke with his crew chief earlier today, and that's Pop Yuri Sr., and he told me at the beginning of the season, he told his young driver that if you want to win a championship, you've got to start strong. It's the way he's won championships in the past. Now, of course, they did have their setbacks during this season, and Yuri Sr. basically doubted the fact that they could sit at that head table in Orlando at the end of the year. But after this team has turned it around the past couple weeks, Pop Sr. told me, I don't see why we can't win this championship. Now, Landon Castle, who's currently running 4th right now, he had a pretty bad run at Richmond earlier this season. His crew chief, Chad Walters, had a talk with Landon Castle. They sat down. They told each other what they thought they were doing right. They thought they were doing wrong. Sort of a come-to-Jesus talk. Now, Chad Walters says this is a different driver here tonight than it was in Richmond that night. And he's even told his driver to his face how much he's improved. Mike?
And Kelly Byers having a pretty respectable run, running inside the top 10 most of the night, 7th right now. And of course, he would love nothing more than to get his first victory here in his home state of Wisconsin. And back in 2006, he won an ASA race right here at the Milwaukee Mile. He considers that his breakthrough win, what put him on the map. Right now, battling a very tight race car, his spotter and his crew chief coaching him, telling him to run a higher line in turns 1 and 2, hoping that'll help him here tonight. Shannon.
Well, Mike, Joey Logano's not going to be behind the seat of this 20 car for the next couple weeks. He's actually going to hand the reins over to the other Joe Gibbs Racing drivers. But Dave Rogers says he's not at all concerned. He says Logano has become incredibly comfortable in this car. He says Joey knows that this 20 car is his car, and that's not something he's going to have to relearn when he gets back behind the wheel. Dave.
Shannon, born on March 26, 1990. James Busher is in only his 3rd start here in the NASCAR Nationwide Series, and he's doing a fairly good job right now, running in the 12th position. Crew chief Trent Owens told me last week after their 14th place finish, I was very, very impressed by this young man. He was the youngest winner ever in the ARCA Series, just shy of his 17th birthday, and so far, he's doing the job in limited rides in this 32 car. Cale Gale runs behind him in that 33 car run by Kevin Harvick and Delana as well. He is running very well tonight. Just a little bit loose in qualifying is what put them so far back at the start of this race. So far, the car's been very balanced for him in race trend as we got a battle for the lead, Alan.
Keselowski going to try and take it back from Bliss.
I tell you, Brad's got a strong race car. He's run up front, led a bunch of laps. Mike Bliss is up on the wheel. He's a Milwaukee guy from the other end of the country, so he's trying to represent here in Milwaukee on the eastern coast. So they got a good race going on right now.
Bliss from Milwaukee, Oregon. I wondered what kind of hole you were digging for yourself there. Gotta love it. Back and forth for the lead. Bliss hanging on. Keselowski running right behind him. Can he get the top spot back? Remember, Brad led most of the first 62 laps of this race. Trying again. Gotta love it. Just not quite enough.
Boy, they are digging after one another. That's a lot of fun to watch. But I'll tell you what, look in the mirror. Jason Leffler and Scott Wimmer are both coming pretty quickly.
Now he's got him. All right, so Keselowski's got him cleared now. Brad back into the lead here. This should be lap 84 that he goes back to the front. Little thank you wave. And we are closing in on the halfway point of this race in a little bit. Right now, 83 of 250 complete. Keselowski's been out in front for most of it, trying to get his second career Nationwide Series win. He won a couple weeks ago in Nashville.
Welcome back to Milwaukee. We are under caution for the third time. Travis Kittleson's car is spinning to bring out the yellow flag. Pace car is pulled on the racetrack, and the leaders should be coming back on the pit road. They pitted 28 laps ago, as they will come down at 35 miles per hour. Brad Keselowski back up front. We head down with our Castrol GTX triple pits, and we'll go down to Dave Burns.
And for James Buescher, they're going to leave him on those same tires that he's been on since the last stop. And they just can't afford to take that set of tires, said Trent Owens. So they won't use them now. They will put Sunoco fuel in that car again. And they're also going to make a wedge adjustment in the left rear of that car. Pretty neutral, he said. Just a slight adjustment for a loose race car, Mike.
And the team going to work on the right side, completing work there, moving to the left side. Scott Wimmer complaining about a very tight race car. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment. He's away in 15.1. Shannon.
Mike, there are going to be no changes on your race leader. Number 88, Brad Keselowski, is going to take 4 tires. Fuel.
Off of pit road, Buescher up 11 positions for the 18-year-old. There's the 32 car, the Braun Motorsports. Jason Leffler losing 5 positions. Now, why are we under yellow for the third time tonight? Take a look. The 56 car. Florida short track ace Travis Kittleson goes around in the Jack McNelly-owned Chevy. And that brought out the yellow flag for the third time tonight. We'll be back with a restart here at Milwaukee in just a moment. Welcome back to Milwaukee. We are under caution for the third time tonight. Here's a look at our Holiday Inn Express race summary. There have been 4 leaders and 5 different lead changes. Brad Keselowski having led the bulk of the race thus far. Average speed just over 93 miles per hour. Cars on the lead lap. 30 cars still on the lead lap. We've had 3 lucky dogs. And there have been 12 laps run under caution. 8 cars out of the race, back in the garage area, some under repair. Now, the 32 car of James Buescher came on the pit road a moment. You saw all the spots he gained. And here's the reason he gained so many positions. You don't see any tires anywhere going on the car.
All they do is put a little bit of fuel in here. They stick a wrench in the window, put a little bit of wedge, or actually take a little wedge out, and he's on the way. Almost gets into Stephen Wallace.
Pace truck pulling away, and we'll see if Mr. Buescher here, the 18-year-old, will lead him down and lead a lap here, lead his laps under green at Milwaukee. By the way, for you Kyle Busch fans, this is the first race of the year that Kyle Busch is not in a NASCAR Nationwide Series event, although James Buescher was scheduled to drive this car anyway when the year began, the 32 car here at Milwaukee.
Well, you have to think that they're going to gobble him up with no tires, and these guys having good tires, but so far he's doing pretty good.
I tell you what, I started to say one good feeling is when you're leading the race. The sick feeling is when you have no tires and you know the guys behind you do. But hey, he's holding on here for at least one corner now. Like Brad Keselowski's right on his bumper, eating him up at the moment. And boy, to hold on out there with no tires that's a tough thing to do.
Scott Wimmer's got a great car tonight. He's really worked his way up through the pack. He's right there, going for second spot.
Keselowski takes the lead. Wimmer, who finished second here a year ago, to Eric Almirola / Denny Hamlin.
Hey guys, one thing to note right now, this track is really cooling down. This last pit stop, I bet a lot of guys made some big changes to try to keep up with the track because it's getting much cooler, starting to get dark here in Milwaukee now.
You see these guys now filing by James Buescher without any tires. It's going to be hard for him to fight these guys. You can see the car's really loose getting in the corner right there. Dave Burns, what's going on with the 32 car?
Well, and as Trent Owens pointed out to his young driver, we just can't afford to give you the tires right now. Apparently everybody else could, but he didn't want to give him the tires right now. He said, work with the spotter. We should settle in about where we were. And you've been there before, Andy. When you take this chance, if you start getting past, you just hope it sort of evens out over time. And Buescher was running in and around that top 10, so we'll see if he settles in there.
Yeah, if he can just stay in the top 10 or close to the top 10, he'll have an extra set of tires as we move later in the race.
Speaking of top 10 cars for you David Rudiman fans, David Rudiman was caught speeding on exit of pit road, and that's why you don't see him in the top 10 now. He had to come back on, and David Rudiman now being shown in the 22nd position. Clint Bowyer, onboard camera for the 2 car. Points leader, 170-point bulge over Keselowski coming in. Bowyer coming off that 9th place finish at Kentucky last week, running in 8th position here.
Well, I tell you, I'm just impressed with the job Colin Brown's doing. I mean, he's kept himself out of trouble the whole time. Still looking good out there, guys.
Hard to imagine this young man in the 16. This is only his 4th ever start in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. He had one at Memphis a year ago. He was at Nashville, set on the pole at Mexico City, and now here at Milwaukee.
Oh, you see Buescher getting way high in this corner. But one thing about Colin Brown, he's been running the truck series some, getting some experience, and that's really kind of a great feeder series the trucks are for these guys that are coming along.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, because the truck series, those guys are very aggressive. I mean, they got to learn how to slam and bam and move guys out of the way, and he's been in a pretty rough atmosphere in that truck series. That just happens, and so Colin's doing a great job out there. Hey, Mike, this kid's looking pretty good.
Yeah, he is, and you guys mentioned his experience in the truck series. Well, this weekend is kind of something different for him. It's the first time he's run double duty. Of course, he ran the truck race here last night. Didn't fare all that well. Was caught up in an incident, ended up 31st, but he says he'd race every day if he could. He sees the value in seat time, and he knows that the more he races, the better off he'll be. Right now, he's battling a bit of a tight race car, but still hanging in there.
I think that everybody's battling a tight race car out there right now as the track cools down. That's the biggest complaint you get at this racetrack.
I think they're battling a tight track. This track really has that characteristic because it's so flat, it's so hard to get the front end of the car to turn.
Lap 97, we move in on lap 100 here in the Camping World RV Rental 250. It has been all Brad Keselowski. The young driver has led 4 times for 71 laps and still shows the way. The flavor of Milwaukee coming to Wisconsin State Fair Park. Yeah, it's all about the brats, the beer, the bikes. This being the home to Harley-Davidson. Oh, that brat looks awfully good. Ooh, and of course, the best fans anywhere. How about these great Wisconsin fans and these Wisconsin drivers, like the guy right now who's on a move or on a mission. We're talking about Scott Wimmer and that 29 car. There is Wimmer driving the Holiday Inn Chevrolet for Richard Childress Racing, and we asked him what it would mean to finally get a win here in the home state at the home track.
It really would be probably the biggest win of my career. This is a place that I've been close before. We lost it right at the end of the race last year, finished 3rd a few years back, and just all my family, all my friends come down to this race, and I don't get to see them a lot during the season. This one place where we all come together, watch me race, and you know, to win here would be special. I think it would take a long time for that one to wear off.
And you saw a moment ago, that was part of the Scott Wimmer fan club in section 302. There's over 80 of them strong from Wausau, all wearing their Scott Wimmer t-shirts. They were down at an autograph session down earlier today. I was down in the garage area. Scott enjoying so many family and friends here. He mentioned he finished 2nd here in 2007. He finished 3rd in 2002. And boy, would he ever love to be able to stand up in Victory Lane and salute these Wisconsin fans as a native son in Victory Lane here at Milwaukee.
Tell you what, he's eating them up in the center of the corner. Scott Wimmer is. I mean, right there. That's where he runs up to him. Then he gets down on the entry of turn 3, and it looks like he loses a little bit right there. But that turn 1 and 2 has been good for him.
Looks to me like Scott's trying a few different things and trying to get his car set up and get his car right for the end of the race when he needs to have it the best.
You know, if you can follow a guy long enough like that, you can see what he's doing right and what he's doing wrong, and practice where your car's better. Is it better? Enter a little higher, better a little lower. Where do I catch him at? And that's what he's doing right now. They're not having to pass cars. He's just watching them.
Battle for 16th position. Strimmy going by Ambrose, and here comes Marcus Ambrose right back on the inside.
Well, these guys are racing hard.
Well, hey, pays a lot of money out there. They want to win. Everybody wants to win, and they're trying to get all the positions they can. And now this is a classic case of what calls a car to be tight. Look at this right here. See how tight the cars are? When they get that front end jam behind the car, man, it's hard to pass. See Marcus move up in the top of that track. Mike, what's David saying about that car?
Well, he's saying right now that the left front is bouncing a little bit, and that's causing him some difficulty getting up off the corner. So that's a little bit frustrating for him right now.
And Mike, the guy he's racing, Marcus Ambrose, tight race car all night long. The most interesting thing about this is Robert Presley, who did a really good job of setting this car up for him, had never been in a coil-bound race car before. So I asked crew chief Gary Cogswell, well, how'd you do it then? Yeah, winging it. And I guess that's the way Marcos can handle it, because he's driving it okay. They winged it, and now he's getting passed by Strimmy. Strimmy gets some room.
You know, I asked Robert Presley in the 59 car, I said, well, you know, how does it feel to be back in the race car? He said, well, now I understand, Doc, why they have those HOV lanes for us old guys to stay out of the way. He said, but it was great to get back in the race car and good to see Robert back at the track.
Dude, that's funny right there. That was HOV lanes. Okay, every time I see an HOV lane at Charlotte, I'm going to go in the other lane.
Well, he told you that David Rudeman, the 99 car, got a penalty and is now trying to work his way back through the field. He's just in front of that group. There is Rudeman in the 99 car in 14th position. Shannon?
Yeah, as you can imagine, David Rudeman very frustrated when he had to come back down pit road. Now the team opted to just top off, so he's got an extra lap of gas on that 99 car. And you spoke to Jerry Baxter, and you know, he's very happy with second, third, and fourth places, but he has expressed over and over again as he passes the number 52 car that this 99 team, they want to win, and that's what they expect to do this season, guys.
Shannon, the last time David Rudeman drove this car, this Toyota Camry, a year ago, he went to victory lane at Memphis in his 63rd career start. And he said this car has not raced in 2008. We brought it out, and how about 2 for 2 for this one? He said, we know it's a great race car. That's why he was hustling to get here from Sonoma. He was the only driver of the 5 doing double duty that made it here in time to qualify. Unfortunately, that speeding penalty on pit road put him back in the pack, but he is slowly climbing back toward the top 10. Easing in on the halfway point here of a 250 lap event at the Milwaukee Mile. Lots more coming your way this weekend. NASCAR now 10 a.m. tomorrow. NHRA race day tomorrow at 11 a.m. IndyCar action from Iowa Speedway, the Lucas Oil NHRA Super Nationals, and of course NASCAR now on Monday at 5:30 Eastern Time. Welcome back to the Camping World RV Rental 250 here at the historic Milwaukee Mile. 116 laps of 250 in the books, and Brad Keselowski has been the dominant car tonight. He's led 4 times for 90 laps. Mike Bliss has led once for 21 laps. It is Keselowski, Wimmer, Bliss, Leffler, and Carl Edwards being shown in the 5th position. The reigning series champion has come all the way from the back of the field up toward the front. But Edwards, who led the most laps in this race a year ago, is yet to lead tonight.
Well, you got to remember now, he did not get to practice this car, and he's got a new crew chief, and these guys are trying to get their car dialed in a little bit better. And here's what Carl had to say on the radio.
Yeah, it just feels like the track bar could go down just a little bit. Maybe more wedge, maybe tire pressure, I don't know. About 40% as bad as it was. And there's one thing you can do, Drew, is at the shop, try to fix these gas pedals. They're junk.
We're inside the ESPN Dish Tech Center. We're going to go in through the dash, through the access panel. What we're going to show you here, folks, this is actual gas pedal in the car. What the guy's complaining about, that guy wants to hold his foot in a general position. And what we're going to do, we're going to sit here and show you exactly what we're talking about. The guy, he gasses with his foot. He don't ever want to move his heel. He wants to roll in the gas, roll out of the gas, because he's got another foot that he's going to use for the brake pedal, and that's what Carl's complaining about right now. Andy?
Good job, Tim. They're getting this thing geared up. This 60 car is coming to the front. Here he comes up on Jason Leffler.
And I'll tell you what, when your gas pedal doesn't feel right, it's hanging on the bottom of your foot, that'll drive you completely nuts. You can't feather the throttle, I call it, where you can ease into the gas, ease off the gas. It's like you're either in or you're off, or it's jerky, it's not smooth, and that's not the way to pass cars out there, guys.
Like a baseball player who can't really get a good grip on the bat, or his glove doesn't feel exactly right. It's just a little bit strange for the driver.
Yeah, absolutely, Jerry. It just doesn't fit you right, and just you think if he had a little better gas pedal, he might even run a little better right there.
He's got a pretty good grip on it right here. He's got the line on Jason Leffler.
Still the best run we have seen for Carl Edwards in over a month. Or the frustrations of the 20th place finish at Kentucky last week. You remember he finished last after having the frustrations of being on the pole at Darlington, hitting the wall in lap 1 and lap 3. Just said they just couldn't get it together. And he was defending his former crew chief, Pierre Cattell, this week. Said there's nothing wrong with PK. We've had a great relationship, and PK led us to a championship a year ago. We just needed to change the chemistry. They made the crew chief change on Tuesday of this week. He came here. They put Eric Darnell in the car to set it up, and Carl is having one of the best runs he has had in about a month and a half this year.
It's probably a pretty good move, but Andy, I would think that probably PK just lost a little bit of the mojo. I mean, maybe running the same setups they run for a long time, and I really believe if he swaps like they're doing, Matt Kenseth is probably going to run great.
Well, that's
PK
the thing.
with him, you know.
This sport changes so fast. It changes week to week. You got to keep up with things, and like you say, you can kind of get stuck. When you have success, it can actually make you get a little content with what you've got, and that may have been what happened here. I don't know, but you know, you're more reluctant to change things when you've had a good success at a racetrack and you're coming back there. You don't really want to run anything different.
I think that PK's a great crew chief. I think he's going to come back and say, I'm going to show you, and it'll probably run real good. And, you know, maybe this, you know, really got him going more. Who knows? I know one thing. He's a good crew chief, that's for sure. Mike, what's a 60 saying?
You talk about chemistry, guys, and, you know, part of it is really learning, you know, how to gauge what your driver's saying, understanding his communications process, and that's been something that's been a little bit of a challenge so far tonight between Drew Blickensderfer and, of course, Carl. At one point early on, Carl was complaining that he was a little bit too loose. They made an adjustment, a track bar adjustment. He went out, and it just made the car a little bit more loose. It didn't seem like Drew really quite understood, and, you know, they were pretty courteous about it, but the next time down pit road, they were sure to undo that adjustment and adjust in a different direction. But the car has seemed to come to life, and it's really reacting positively right now for Carl.
Mike, that is one of the things that they'll have to work through. Crew chiefs and drivers have to learn what they really mean when they say things. And you know, I notice I've experienced that with Earnhardt and Harry Gant. They had different ways of explaining how they wanted their cars adjusted, and it'll be a little transition phase for these guys.
Yeah, I heard Dale Earnhardt Sr. one time say, my car's loose, and then the next statement, Harry Gant said, my car's swarping. And I said, what in the world is swarping? I've never heard that word before.
See, I know what it means.
What's it mean?
Well, it means that the car is swarping, going back and forth, loose to tight, loose to tight.
Now, I call that the death wobble.
Yeah, Taylorsville, North Carolina, swarping means it wiggles in one end and it won't turn in the other. So, all right. Carl Edwards, a reigning series champion, just losing the 4th spot a moment ago to Joey Logano back in 5th position. But the guy they're still chasing is representing the Navy. The white number 88 for Brad Keselowski has now led 100 of the 126 laps.
Just past halfway in tonight's Camping World RV Rental 250 here at the Milwaukee Mile. Brad Keselowski continues to lead. Just a couple things that have happened during the week. Drew Blickensderfer, we just talked about, swapping crew chief positions with Pierre Cattell at the 60 and 17 teams for the Roush Fenway operation. Kyle Busch saying no mas. Not going to run for the Nationwide Series title. We heard Kenny Wallace, his 400th Nationwide Series start, acknowledged in pre-race ceremonies. Rusty part of that presentation. And tragically today, NHRA driver Scott Coletta was killed in an accident during a qualifying run at the Englishtown, New Jersey Raceway. And more on that on NHRA Today tomorrow and our coverage of the NHRA finals from Englishtown. So Keselowski has opened up a 2.2-second lead on Scott Wimmer as we run just past halfway here. Let's talk about a couple other guys having a good run tonight that have impressed us, Brad.
Yeah, look at that fourth spot. We're going to look at Jason Leffler in that Braun Toyota. He has done an outstanding job. Very racy. He's kept that race car clean. When he gets a little clean air on that nose, it seems to advance it pretty easily. Also going back to Jason Keller. What a great day for Jason Keller. He's had 2 weeks of back-to-back solid runs. Right now he's running that 9th position, doing a great job. And old David Reagan jumped off the airplane, jumped in that hot rod, and he's got it 10th spot. Looks like he's going to have a great finish tonight. Both he and Keller look like they're ready to advance their positions really pretty soon.
Talked about Carl Edwards and Clint Boyer coming from the back up into the top 10. David Reagan a little slower to make that progress, but he's there.
He's passed 31 cars, Al.
Yeah, and so David Reagan has worked his way into the top 10 with still plenty of racing to go. You look at the scoring serial on David Reagan. So the 5 guys who are doing double duty here tonight, the farthest mover of them would be Carl Edwards up to 5th, but Clint Boyer gaining a couple of more spots on the racetrack. That's where those guys run, just past halfway at the Milwaukee Mile.
Come on, gang. Fire in the hole.
It's lap 2, and these guys are driving like it's the last lap.
Beautiful job. Hey, that hurt like a you-know-what.
Here comes Carl Edwards. Can he get there? Kevin Harvick becomes the 21st different winner in 21 races here at New Hampshire. There has never been a repeat winner in 21 races at New Hampshire, and our coverage moves there next week. The Camping World RV Sales 200 at New Hampshire, the Magic Mile, Saturday, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time, beginning with NASCAR Countdown on ABC. How about 21 races, 21 different winners? Harvick dominated there last year. Wonder if we can make it 22 for 22 next week.
Well, you probably will. I mean, that place there it's amazing that they've had that many winners.
Here comes Joey Logano. After that little bang-up he had on pit road, this car's back pretty fast.
Andy, I think this racetrack's pretty well stabilized right now. It's full darkness here at Milwaukee, and the changes have took place in the chassis.
Well, Logano has gone by Edwards, Leffler, and Wimmer. And let's find out what's going on with Scott Wimmer. Mike?
And just before being passed by Joey Logano, Scott Wimmer was on his radio. His car's been real tight. He's trying to find a way to get it to cut a little bit better in the center. So it's almost like they had to break out the owner's manual. Let's listen into a conversation between him and his crew chief, Pat Smith, about the brake bias.
Which way is rear brake, Pat? Counterclockwise or clockwise? Clockwise is more rear brake. One click is about 50 pounds, so be careful with it there. Clockwise is more rear brake.
What we're talking about here, folks, brake bias. These gauges is actually how we set it in the garage at home. See here, when I can push this brake pedal, you can get the rear pressure, the front pressure. What we normally do, we set it about 50 pounds to the front before we start, but inside the car, what Scott was referring to, how do you change it? Over here, we've got it clearly marked on a Chevrolet Cutaway car. You turn it clockwise over here to advance it to the rear and bringing it off the front, but you mark it clearly. Driver's always got that indicator right there in front of him. Doc?
Tim, great explanation. And you heard the crew chief say, be very careful, Rusty, because one click or a couple of clicks, if you're not, then you're in the race car. That can make a big difference going in the corner. Huh?
Yeah, but not one round. I mean, he's just trying to be a little careful with this guy, Scott Wimmer, there. You can crank that thing a couple rounds, probably get away with it. He's just looking for a difference, and I try to run as much rear brake it makes sense to keep the fronts running a little bit cooler.
Well, the one reason they say be careful is because if you put too much rear brake in the car, when you fly down in this corner and you stab that brake, it could lock the rear wheels up, and then you really have no control. You could just slide that car right back it in the wall, knock the clip off of it.
Okay, maybe it is a big deal then. Okay,
yeah, a little bigger deal than you think.
You know, especially on a road course. If you do it on a road course, it'll wheel hop the back of it actually and slide in a corner too.
There's Pat Smith, the crew chief for Scott Wimmer. You heard the conversation a moment ago. Here's the guy they're chasing, continuing to chase, Brad Keselowski. Picking up his first pole ever in his 51st start tonight, and he has made good on it, leading 4 times for 120 laps. Gotta believe that boss man Dale Earnhardt Jr. loving what he's seeing out in Sonoma, waiting to race tomorrow. And here is the young man that everyone was talking about from last week, 18-year-old Joey Logano, who became the youngest winner in series history at Kentucky last Saturday night.
He's loving what he's seeing, too, because he's seeing that 88 car, Brad Keselowski, get bigger and bigger in his windshield. He's definitely catching this 88 car.
Yeah, that is true. He just ran a 31.28, Joey Logano did, to Brad Keselowski's 31.41, so about a tenth and a half faster at the moment. Shannon, what's Joey saying about his car right now?
Well, there's a lot of activity over the radio, Rusty. Crew Chief Dave Rogers really talking his driver through each lap. A lot of pats on the backs if Joey Logano was standing here. You're going great, man. Fastest lap on the track. A lot of that over the radio. Now, I told you earlier how Joey Logano's brakes were pulsating. Caution on the track.
Trouble on the racetrack, Shannon. The 16 car, Colin Brown, has spun around, and Colin Brown brings out caution number 4. Caution number 4 on the night for Colin Brown.
Whatever hit on the right side with the 9 car. Tell him thanks, man.
Looks like he and Chase Miller must have gotten together. This is going to set up kind of an interesting situation because we've got 102 laps to go. These guys can maybe run 90 laps. Some of them can run as far as 90 laps on fuel.
Show you what happened here to the 16. There's the 9, Chase Miller.
And, you know, that's just a classic case of running out of room like we saw early in the race with Clint Boyer. You know, Chase Miller was coming from the top of the wall down his normal line. And Colin got his nose in there and went, wait a minute, I thought Chase was going to stay up, and it didn't happen that way. Neither one of these guys fault this thing right here.
There's the wheel mark on the left side of the Dodge for Chase Miller, right on the 9.
Yeah, the only problem here is I think the 9 car should have given him the line. He was a lap down, and the 16 car was a lead lap car. I think he expected a little bit more room there when he got there.
Yeah, you're probably right. That's where the spotters get involved in and say, hey, man, he's a lap down. You know, here he comes. Stay high, stay low. Information.
It'll be 101 laps to go, and the pit road will be open. The question is, when these guys pit now, will some of them gamble if we go green and try to hang on and pull out that fuel mileage issue?
It's going to be tough because that's about 10 or 12 laps further than most of these guys can go.
They got to get really woed down again. They got to make that hard left-hand turn onto pit road and then get down to 35 miles an hour. Watch jamming on the brakes. There's Logano. As they head down pit road, let's go down to Mike.
And this may be a critical pit stop for the 29 team and Scott Wimmer just before Pat Smith came over the radio and said, hey, bud, do whatever you can. They're really gaining on you, and it appears like you're slipping back. He says he needs to turn off the corner a little bit better than he has so far. They're going to make a wedge adjustment and a 4-tire change for Wimmer. Shannon?
Like Joey Logano saying that the car is just a little bit snug. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment and a wedge adjustment. And right below him, Brad Keselowski, the guy he is hunting down, saying that the car's good, but it's just starting to push a little bit. They're going to take 4 tires and fuel for that 88 car. As the 20 car pulls out of his pit stop, we'll see who wins the battle off pit road.
Whoa, off of pit road, Logano gets the position. He wins the race off of pit road. That gains a spot. Keselowski back 1. David Reagan up 4 positions. And Leffler back 2. Wow, what a race off. And let's check the nose. Is that right at the line? Well,
might be the 88.
88 car.
Welcome back to Milwaukee under caution for the 4th time tonight. Let's visit with our in-race reporter, Jason Leffler, who's had a very good night, currently running in the 6th position.
Jason Leffler, Rusty Wallace, ESPN. You got us, buddy?
Just take what it'll give you. We'll be fine.
Jason, Rusty, ESPN. You got us?
I got you loud and clear, Rusty.
Jason, what's the track doing right now? Has it changed a lot? And where are you be able to pass on this racetrack? It's awful flat track, tough to pass, I would think.
Yeah, track, I mean, obviously it's gaining a little bit of grip. Not as much as you think with the cooler temperatures, but you just pass them anywhere they're not. You know, you try to roll the bottom, and later in these runs, the guys are getting loose up off. You can run your car a little straighter. You can drive up off underneath them off the corner. So, Great Clips Toyota's really good. See what we got here.
All right, Jason, thanks a lot.
Remember, Jason Leffler gave Toyota their very first win in this series. It came in race number 22 last year at IRP up in Indianapolis. Let's listen into the 9-car radio for Chase Miller.
I'm having trouble with my radios. I had to try to change batteries. That spare radio they gave me was NFE. My bad there, bud. I was panicking trying to get everything sorted. Yeah, I had no clue it was there.
He was referring to that last caution with the contact between him and the 16 car. 98 laps to go. Brad Keselowski, the leader, will lead him down as we have 19 cars still on the lead lap here at Milwaukee. It is Chevy, Toyota, Chevrolet, then a couple of Fords, then another Toyota. Keselowski, Logano, Wimmer, Edwards, and Reagan.
Well, you see Stanton Barrett there trying to get the lucky dog from the rest of that crowd. He's driving his rear end off, trying to stay up in front, hoping the caution's going to come out so he can get himself back in the lead lap.
Stanton Barrett in the 30 car. There's Joey Logano.
We saw that last green flag run where the 88 car got way out there, and then as it went on, this 20 car got really, really good and started catching Brad Keselowski pretty quickly.
You know, you really wonder if the tire pressures are set up quite a bit different from the 88 to Joey's car, Keselowski to Logano, because just what you said, David Stremme in the wall hard.
Stremme in the top 10 in the point standings, had not finished out of the top 12.
Got me.
He had not finished
we're hit pretty hard.
out of the top 12 since back at the beginning of the year, so frustration for Stremme there. Hard impact for his Chevy.
Headed back to the garage area. They need to do some big repairs on this thing to get it back out there, maybe run a few more laps.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to believe they can get that car back out. Looks like it needs a rear tail section and a whole back of the body, we call it in racing terms.
If we can figure out what happened. It's like he got all jammed up behind Mike Wallace. Marcus Ambrose gets into the back of David Stremme. Looks like a big, kind of just a accordion effect getting in the corner.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. You can see that he was on the brakes trying to keep hitting the back of Mike Wallace's car. And when he got on the brakes hard, the 59 got in the back of him, and that was it.
Hard impact by Stremme, and his Chevrolet brings out caution for the 5th time tonight. Leaders will stay on the racetrack because they had just come off of pit road. We'll take a break and come back and update the happenings here in the final 100 laps at Milwaukee. A lot more motorsports coming your way over the weekend. The upcoming schedule includes a visit to Iowa for the Ethanol IndyCar 250 presented by Midwest Corn Growers tomorrow 1 o'clock Eastern time on ABC. Our own Rusty Wallace will be out there to be able to join Marty Reed, Scott Goodyear, Jack Arute and company to be involved with the pre-race and the race itself.
Doc, it's going to be a big day out there. We got a big fundraiser going on right now, raising over $1 million for the flood victims in the state of Iowa. Scott Dix and Dan Weldon have already donated all their earnings from what they're going to earn tomorrow to the victims. It's going to be a big day in Iowa. Live on ABC tomorrow. I can't wait to get there.
So they'll have all the action tomorrow. IndyCar action out from Newton, Iowa. Joey Logano won last week at Kentucky. And take a look at the drivers in only his 3rd start. Take a look at the drivers who won twice in their first 4 starts. Pretty good company. Ron Fellows, the road racing expert, Dale ODW, Darrell Waltrip, and Dale Earnhardt Sr. And of course, if Logano could pull it off tonight, he would join that pretty elite group there.
Key thing is none of these guys were rookies when they did it. This is the first 4 starts of this guy, and he is a rookie. Have not run any of the major series.
A lot of speculation. We'll get in a moment as to what may happen down the road for Joey Logano. They're actually we hear that he's not going to be in the car for the next 3 events at New Hampshire, Daytona, and Chicago. At least that was the original plan. To be able to put Tony Stewart and company. Other guys back there is Dad Tom. What a great Father's Day present he got last Saturday, seeing his 18-year-old son win for the first time in NASCAR's Nationwide Series. Let's listen in as we get ready to go green and listen to go full throttle.
Green, slow start. Here we go. Clear. Still there outside. Clear all around. Still there outside. He's outside on your corner. There you go. Hit your mark down. Clear all around. Clear by 1. Car high. Clear by 2. High. Still there. Left rear corner clear. Clear. Going outside. Still wide. Still there. Clear low. Clear. Wide. Clear. Coming back now inside.
Boy, those spotters are busy on the restarts here at the Milwaukee Mile.
Big stack up on the start there.
Oh, man, I just love seeing these guys at the start of the race. Look at this crowd. I mean, they're all over the place right now. And it's because they got those new tires, and they got that good grip, and they're going for it. And tell you what, wouldn't it be fun if they did this every single lap?
Looks to me like they have been. These guys have been racing hard tonight, and we've got 90 laps to go. This is the last segment of the race, and everybody's trying to get their car in position, their team in position for this last run.
While we watch this racing here as they come back to the pack here with fresh tires, Dave is caught up with David Stremme.
Yeah, and Doc, it didn't seem like Stremme's best night anyway out there with the car, but then what happened when everything stacked up in the turn, David?
I mean, first of all, these guys have been working hard. And it's a shame we got wrecked, but the problem is the car wasn't right from the beginning. Something happened. They didn't get it prepped right. Something happened when we went into qualifying. It was horrible. And there's something bound up in the front end. It was driving. It was the worst car I've had all year. And we were trying to work on it. And when you get running with them guys in the back that wreck every week, something's going to happen, and I guess we're the innocent victim. I mean, them guys they're idiots back there. And I can see why they run into one another. And if they understand how to race better, it probably wouldn't happen. But I don't know. We'll go next week, Loudon. We got a brand new car there. It's just a shame get tore up here.
Sorry out, David. Doc?
You could tell when talking to David earlier today, he thought this might be the night that he would break through because he was the fastest car in the final practice session yesterday.
I have to agree, though. I think there was something wrong with his car because you can see that hopping that it was doing off the corner. It's just like there was a shock bound up, something, maybe a sway bar bound up. There was something wrong with that car that David was fighting.
Well, that's 2 weeks in a row now. The team thinks that this is going to be the week they're going to win the race because they've been so hot with so much momentum, and all of a sudden the car doesn't handle, and he's just frustrated right now. He's mad, and he's probably going to go back and watch his tape and say, I didn't mean what I said about those guys, that they're idiots back there. They're all good race car drivers, but that's what happened as a race car driver. You're frustrated.
Colin Brown in the wall.
Colin Brown again.
Caution number 6.
Doesn't look like he's got much damage. The right front fender's bent in.
Yeah, he does have some damage there.
Yeah.
You can see.
What the heck was that?
Looks like the toe end might be knocked out on the right front.
Boy, if it's knocked out on the right front, that takes time to fix. You can knock those fenders out, but boy, when you got to get underneath that car, Andy, and work on it, that's tough.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of problem. They're going to have to work on that. Try to get those wheels going the same direction.
Yeah, it looks like that left rear tire's flat, too. I just wonder if that was going down.
Now, you can see the paint rubbed off that left rear. I'd say somebody got into the side. Looks like it was Cale Gale.
No, that's when you just get loose going at the corner when you're laying your right side against that guy's left side. Makes that car really loose. Cale Gale just got loose and got up into him. Just take a look at this here. Whoa, see it walk the back around right up into Colin.
Well, for the second time tonight, Colin Brown is in the wrong place at the right time and ends up being a victim and brings out the yellow flag for the 6th time. Leaders should be on pit road momentarily. We'll be back to Milwaukee in just a moment. The last 2 weeks, the young guns have broken through. Joey Logano a week ago on the eve of Father's Day, and Brad Keselowski 2 weeks ago getting their first wins in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. And guess what? These two young drivers are 1-2 here with 83 laps to go.
They figured out they liked that winning, didn't they?
I want to get a better taste of that. He'll do that 2 in a row.
Carl Edwards sitting there in 3rd place. It's the best run he's had in a long time. I bet he's having some fun.
He is having some fun. He feels like he's back on track. But, you know, talking about Brad Keselowski, I watched this thing happen this afternoon. That probably was the best-looking car, guys, going into turn 1 or turn 3 I've ever seen in a long time. That thing gets down there and the left front goes down. Pretty cool.
One of the big topics of the week was what would Joey Logano, with the success he's had, would he possibly go cup racing? We asked Joey his thoughts about the speculation.
I think it's a cool thing, you know, but I'm not really letting it get to me right now. You know, I'm focused on the nationwide races I got to run right now. And when Joe and JD say, let her rip, that's where we're going to go. But until then, I'm focused on this 20 GameStop Toyota.
Wow, what do you do if you got a talent like that in your stable? Do you let him go Cup early? Do you keep him here? Do you let him continue to win? That's some very difficult decisions coming up for Joe Gibbs Racing and 18-year-old Joey Logano.
Man, they got a big jump on Carl Edwards. I mean, they just spanked him on that restart. I mean, he was right on the bump of the 20 car and something. He just didn't get after it quick enough, I guess.
Here goes Logano going for the lead, challenging the inside of the 88 car.
Man, he drove that car in that corner.
That baby got loose going in here. You see that rear end step out a little bit? Okay, Brad's not going to give up on the outside, though.
You don't think NASCAR's got a very bright future? Here are the future stars, a 24-year-old in the Navy car and an 18-year-old in the Toyota for Joe Gibbs.
And they might both wreck the very next corner. Boy, they're after it right now.
They're wrecking every corner. They just haven't hit anything yet.
Yeah.
They had just pulled away from Carl Edwards by some 15 car lengths.
That's when you got to drive every lap like it's a qualifying lap. Just get away from these guys. Especially we got Joey Logano breathing down your neck. Shannon?
Well, Rusty, on that last run, Brad Keselowski told his crew chief, this is the best motor that I've had in my career. Right now, he's definitely going to have to put that motor to the test. Battling that number 20 car, guys.
Well, I'll tell you, that's a good point, Shannon. I mean, he's really liked his engines a lot this year. We've talked about a lot this year how strong the Toyota engines are. And this is a good test right here to watch the power, see how they both stack up.
Well, this is the hardest we've seen Brad Keselowski race all night long.
You know, it looks like, Andy, he had a big jump on the field Keselowski has, and as the race is going on, Logano just keeps getting stronger and stronger.
He's there.
And makes it look easy. He pulls right down to the inside of the 88 car. Remember, Logano had the pulsating brake pedal early in the race and kind of wonder, oh, he hangs on and they cut contact.
Oh, man, he got the left front fender on the 88 knocked in. And like I said earlier, guys, that's what happens when you get loose, that arrow loose, I call it. The people get sick of me talking about it.
5 points for the good guys. Walk the dog.
Yeah, we can see that coming. That car was very loose getting in the corner.
Yeah,
got in there and just got sideways, got into Brad Keselowski.
Now, I wonder if that's a classic case of having too much rear brake and kind of locking the rear brakes up and sliding in.
And now the fender rubbing on the left front of the 88 car. How long can he hang on with that thing rubbing like that, crew chief?
Well, I don't see a lot of smoke out of the car right now. I'm probably going to leave him on the track a few laps and take a look at it, but it's definitely hurt the car.
A little bit of smoke coming off the corner when he jams the throttle. Here's again the contact.
Well, that's just Joey's fault. He sailed it in there and lost it, and a lot of drivers have done that same thing. Don't let it get to him. That just happens in racing.
Well, I can understand if Brad Keselowski is a little upset about this because he is doing what he's supposed to do, giving him plenty of room. They're racing hard.
Absolutely
That
right.
shouldn't have happened right there.
Brad's on the outside, like you said. He gets slid up into, and now he's mad. His night's not over because he's got a fast car. He's just got to get this left fender knocked out. Shannon, what are they saying? What is Brad saying to the team right now about what the car's doing?
Well, Brad's pretty quiet, but Tony Uri Sr. coming over the radio and reminding his driver, you are running for a championship here. He said, quote, be cool. Told his driver just to back down a little bit because of the damage on that car, guys.
Yeah, that's still going to be hard to keep cool after being body slammed like that out of the lead. And I think that's what Uri Sr.'s telling his driver. Don't do anything stupid. Don't let your emotions get the best of you.
He came into this race second in the point standings, having gained 3 spots after that 4th place finish at Kentucky. Wise advice from a veteran crew chief like Tony Uri Sr., who's been through the wars with Dale Earnhardt Sr. and Dale Earnhardt Jr.
That's one man that has seen it all. I'll tell you, he's been around a long time, and he's seen just about every situation.
Yeah, what Logano needs right now, though, guys, you're right. He's seen everything, and he's seen so much that he knows he can fix that car. If the caution comes out pretty soon, he's got to get it fixed, start from the back of the pack. Then he needs this 75 laps, Andy, to get that thing back up to the front.
Hey, Tim Brewer, how in the world are these guys going to fix this left front fender on this 88 car?
Tell you what, Andy, I'd have to go down and get that Roush roller and roll that thing out. But, you know, the sidewall of that tire right there, it's that meaty area of the sidewall right there that you got to be concerned with, because that's a deal to where it'll rub right through it. But up here in the top area of the tire over here in the corner, it'll rub a little while before you have any issues with that. Andy?
Yeah, Tim, if it's rubbing right there in that thick part, he's okay. If it gets to rubbing, you can see that the side of that tire is shiny, so which means it's touching something. And it can't stand a lot of rubbing in that area.
You know, Andy, one thing I see is not much smoke at all, like you said earlier. And if it's not smoking much, it's probably okay, but I don't like that shiny spot on the side of that sidewalk. It's just like Tim said, that's the softest spot. Oh, look at that tire. It looks like it's getting flat to me.
The biggest thing it's hurt is the lap times. This has really hurt this car, losing that front downforce with that left front fender knocked in so
Yeah,
far.
something looks funny there right now, guys.
If ever a driver needed a caution flag, this team right here needs one now. They want to be able to get this car on the pit road, pull that fender out, get that left front tire off, and be able to go back after the lead and head back to the front. Right now, it's hold your breath time for Brad Keselowski and the 88 team. 72 laps to go. Back in just a moment.
68, about to be 67 laps to go here at the Milwaukee Mile, Wisconsin State Fair Park. You are looking at the race leader, Joey Logano, taking the top spot after a little contact, a little slide job with Brad Keselowski a little bit ago.
Yeah, he got up into him, driving really hard, racing Brad very aggressively, and kind of used him up a little bit. I'm sure Brad's not too excited about what happened, but Logano's checking out.
So Keselowski dominated much of the race up until that contact. Talk about a couple other guys who were factors earlier and kind of haven't seen for a while. Let's start with David Rudiman, that 99 car.
David Rudiman's had a good run tonight. I mean, he's running currently in the 7th position, but if you look at their lap times, I mean, they're off the pace quite a bit considering where the leader is right now. So I don't know, maybe something's wrong with the race car, a little tight, not turning, brakes maybe going away, but just hasn't been able to inch further forward to that 5th place position tonight.
Of course, remember, Rudiman had the penalty for speeding on pit road, went all the way back to 28th, came back into the top 5, but that's kind of where he stalled out. And then the guy we're riding on board with there, that one car, Brad, Mike Bliss.
Mike Bliss had a great run going early tonight, did a great job getting out front, had some good laps, led about 20 laps tonight, but he is back there, and it seems like his lap times has fallen off almost a second behind the leader. It's just like they can't get enough momentum and carry it through the corners to be able to gain any ground on Joey Logano and Carl Edwards.
Scott Wimmer there running for position with them as well, and Wimmer, one of those guys. He was up to 2nd earlier. We thought he had a shot at the lead. He's kind of gone back into the pack. And
just seems like there's a group of those guys, Alan, that just cannot advance their positions, and young Joey Logano is trying to check out on them right now.
So 65 laps to go. You watch the race here for 6th and 7th spots. Bliss there trying to take it away from Rudiman, while up front, Logano has checked out, put a 2.5 on 2nd place Carl Edwards. Can he make it 2 wins in a row after getting win number 1 just a week ago? 18 years old and on a tear right now.
Welcome back to Wisconsin State Fair Park, the historic Milwaukee Mile, NASCAR Nationwide Series action. Joey Logano coming off that first win a week ago, pulling away now. A 2.4 second margin between him and Carl Edwards in 2nd place. And back in 3rd position, coming from California and coming from the back of the field, David Reagan. What a great run he is having here tonight in his Ford for Roush Fenway Racing. With more on David Reagan, let's go down to Mike.
And Doc, it's shaping up to be what could be a very special night for David Reagan after making the commute all the way from Sonoma. And he's got to give a lot of thanks, a lot of gratitude to the guy who shook the car down. This is Augie Vidovich. He's been the substitute behind the wheel of the 6th car the last few weeks. Now, Mike Kelly, the crew chief, told us earlier this weekend that the difference between Augie and other substitutes, we don't ask him to pretend he is our driver. They just want Augie to do his own thing and not get caught up in the minutia and just work on setting up the car to his liking. It's gone so well over the last few weeks that they even joke that maybe once we do get into the companion events, when David's running on the Cup side as well as the Nationwide side, maybe, just maybe, we let him still shake this car down in the Nationwide garage. That would certainly be interesting, wouldn't it?
That would be, and that would obviously, how would you feel about that if you had a guy like Augie as a car owner, Andy, that could do something like that? Would you agree with what Mike Kelly's thinking about?
Yeah, maybe. It seems to be working anyway, and if you got a guy that can get that car dialed in for you, I'd try it for a little while and see how it works.
Well, it's obviously working tonight. I mean, he's got Reagan's car running good, and our pre-race show, countdown show, Alan Bestick was asking us, did you think that the 6 and the 2 car of Clint Boyer and Edwards can get from the back from the front? And I said, well, you would think so. It's harder here, but you would think so because they're the best drivers. They're in Cup. And it looks like they made themselves up pretty good. It took a while to get there. But I tell you, these backup drivers have done a good job for him. What about Stephen Light with that 2 car? He's got that thing handling good for Boyer.
Yeah, he did. He did a great job. And one thing I like about the Roush guys is they're changing up things. They're changing crew chiefs. They're changing their systems a little bit. And here their cars are running 2 and 3 late in the race. This is one of the best races they've had in a while.
You know, when you have success, Andy, it seems like you always want to stay all the time where you're at. And, you know, I got to agree with you. I think that there's a lot to be said of sometimes that stuff gets stale. You got to change some stuff up, move it around. And it's hard to do that when you got your buddies together and everything's good. You just don't want to do nothing, but looks like that's a good way to get stale, doesn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Speaking of changes up, the 20 car of Logano, how would you feel about a guy, particularly if Joey Logano could hang on and win this race, about the fact that they're going to pull him out of the car for the next 3 weeks and probably put a Tony Stewart or Kyle Busch, one of the other veteran drivers in it for New Hampshire, Daytona, and Chicago. Then the kid gets back in. You know, it's got to be difficult for him to be away for a little while.
Well, Doc, are they out of money or what's going on? I mean, they can't find a sponsor for this kid? I mean, I'd leave him in there. It doesn't make any sense to put Tony Stewart in there. He's a Cup guy. Let him play with Cup.
I think that was the original plan, was to pull him out and put Stewart and these guys back in at tough tracks like New Hampshire and Daytona. But J.D. Gibbs, these guys may be rethinking it. You know, we asked Joey Logano about the pressures of coming on board and being in the NASCAR Nationwide Series and how winning that first race impacted the pressure he's been feeling.
I don't think it got rid of all the pressure. I mean, like, part of it did a little bit, but then, you know, now everyone expects you to win even more races, which is fine with me. I expect to win a lot more races, so I kind of like the pressure right now, so I'm cool with it.
Yeah, guys, the team did tell me that next week Tony Stewart will be in this car, Denny Hamlin in Daytona. But of course, Joey Logano, I'm sure, will stay very busy. He's been testing cars for Joe Gibbs Racing. In fact, after this past weekend, he went down to Kentucky, back to Kentucky, I should say, and tested that new car for Joe Gibbs Racing. So certainly this 20 team has a stout field of drivers going for that owner championship with Dave Rogers sitting on top of the pit box.
Thank you, Shannon. You know, we know that young drivers typically have to go through an approval process to get on a super speedway like Daytona, and as of yet, he would not be approved to run Daytona, and we understand some of that. But what about the discussions? If he's doing what he's doing here, say he would hold on and win tonight, he could, and maybe then begin to look toward Cup. I mean, there's a lot of discussion about putting him in a Cup car toward the latter part of the year to be available for what might or might not happen in 2009.
Jerry's running really good. I just think the kid needs a little bit more time yet before they just plug him into a Cup car. It's just my personal opinion.
I agree with you, Rusty. I think that keeping him in this series will give him a lot of the tools he's going to need when he goes up against those Cup guys, because I'm telling you, that is the toughest series in the world to run in.
Dave Rogers, you saw him on the pit box. He said we gave him a brand new car last week at Kentucky, and he sat on the pole and won the race. We decided to bring another brand new car here to Milwaukee, and he just might win the race. But he's still got some people to contend with here at 50 laps to go.
Yeah, you know, I like what you said earlier, Jerry, getting off the subject a little bit about Joey Logano in Daytona. He needs to run a 1.5 mile racetrack before they'll let him run Daytona. They got to see how he's going to do, and people just don't understand that. I mean, that's a good point you brought up. I mean, it's an approval process. It's the same for everybody.
50 laps to go here at the historic Milwaukee Mile, and Joey Logano trying to make history again by winning 2 in a row in only his 4th start in NASCAR's Nationwide Series. The NASCAR Nationwide Series Camping World RV Rental 250 is being brought to you by Camping World RV Rentals, helping customers live every day like it's a Saturday. By Toyota, moving forward. And by Carfax. Sights of downtown Milwaukee here as we are slowing down here over in West Allis, Wisconsin at the side of the historic Milwaukee Mile, while we are under caution now for the 7th time tonight. Debris on the racetrack has brought out the caution flag, and it will allow these leaders to be able to get on the pit road and get that extra little fuel, and a big break for the 88 car to be able to get that fender fixed. Speaking of pit stops, here they come as they slow down to 35 miles an hour and head toward you. Mike?
The biggest challenge that David Reagan and Mike Kelly have faced all night on the 6 car has been a car that's been bouncing around. They've tried to fix it up, but they haven't seemed to get it right yet. The command right now from the driver, he wants it freed up a little bit. They're calling for a 4-tire change and maybe a wedge adjustment as well. Meanwhile, his teammate, Carl Edwards, looking to snap a winless streak that dates well back into last year. A pretty good debut with his new crew chief, Drew Blickensderfer. He's running second right now. He's just looking for a little bit of grip. They'll make an air pressure adjustment. Shannon?
Joey Logano saying the car is tightening up. He just wants to be a little bit free on exit. Those guys pulled out that right front fender. 4 tires for Joey Logano.
And you saw the crew in the 88 there trying to get the repairs. Stephen Wallace gains 12 positions because he only took 2 tires. When we come back, a 3rd-generation driver may be leading at Milwaukee. There's the 88 car. Repairs are made. We'll update that when we come back in a moment. Welcome back to the Camping World RV Rental 250. We are under caution for the 7th time tonight here at the Milwaukee Mile. And once again, there was contact exiting pit road. And again, it involves the 20 car of Joey Logano. Let's show you what happened here between Logano and the 2 car of our points leader, Clint Boyer.
See these guys just racing for that spot off pit road. It looks like Logano just wants a little bit more room around this 88. He gets right in the door of Clint Boyer. I don't think Clint's going to be too happy about that.
No, Clint didn't like that. I mean, he pulled right up, gets his side up and said, hey, pal, I'm done with that. Watch this. He's just going to accelerate right up there alongside that 20 car. Hey, I don't like that.
The last thing Logano wanted to do was hit that 88 again. Let's check in with Mike.
And, Doc, it's been a rough night for Clint Boyer on pit road. That's the 2nd time tonight he's had an incident on pit road. A little bit earlier this evening, he ran into the 38. Of course, if you take a look at that 2 car, doesn't look like he has too much damage, so he should be okay.
I don't think Logano's made too many friends tonight. He's kind of got Clint Boyer riled up a little bit.
Stephen Wallace, by virtue of those 2 tires, will lead him down. The young 3rd-generation driver at the same track that his dad won 5 times. Uncle Michael has won here before in the Nationwide car. Stephen's still looking for that first win. Could he be the next candidate on the Price is Right in terms of winning? Back-to-back first-time winners. Keselowski and Logano. How about Stephen Wallace looking for that first win and get that bagel out of the win column?
I won my first race in my 72nd start. He's getting close right now. I like this decision with 2 tires. Got to get some track position. It's getting late in the race. Just needs to get up front. He's probably going to lose some positions, but he might. I think he's going to be just a little bit of a sitting duck with 2 tires, but at least he doesn't have to come from the back to the front. If you fall back a little bit, that's okay.
No, it's not. No, it's not. We're late in the race, man. Let's go for the win.
All right, I love it. I like the way you're talking, Andy.
And I know his family, and I know he'll be anything but aggressive, right?
He's going to be going
I just
for it.
hope he's smart. That's what I'm
Here he goes. Let's see how aggressive he is and how smart he is. Stephen Wallace leads him down. He's got Carl Edwards behind him. Remember, there was a little contact between him and Carl at Kentucky last week.
Last year.
And last week. Clint Boyer is there. Here goes Carl Edwards by. We'll see if Stephen Wallace's car can grip the racetrack on the inside.
This is where he's got to be smart. Let those guys with those 4 tires do what they got to do.
Uh-oh, here comes Clint Boyer on the inside.
Yeah, this is where you jump on the throttle and follow those veterans right through there.
Edwards takes the lead. Now we'll see if Boyer can do anything with him.
And boy, now we got the 2 Cup guys that started in the back of the pack, leading this race with 40 laps to go.
Man, you don't think they're driving hard. Now, Carl Edwards drove that car in the corner so hard, it just bottomed out and went straight up the racetrack.
Now, Andy, is that because the air pressure's low on the start now?
Yeah, it is because the air pressures are low, but it's also because these guys are racing so hard. They need these spots. They need that track position.
Last year's champion and this year's points leader getting it done here in the final 40 laps at Milwaukee. How much do these guys want to make that 4,000-mile round trip from Sonoma worthwhile by coming here to get a win tonight?
Yeah, if you're going to come all the way over here to race, you might as well make it count. These guys are making it count right here.
Tell you what, if you win a race in a Nationwide Series tonight, he's going to sleep really good going back to Sonoma tonight and have a little bit of bragging rights going to that race tomorrow.
Joey Logano going by Stephen Wallace to take the 3rd spot away. And now here comes David Reagan to try to get in there. Remember, Wallace only has 2 tires. The others have 4 fresh Goodyears. Joey Logano has had a few occasions to get some contact tonight. And another one here just a moment ago. Let's watch the 20 car.
See the 9 car, Chase Miller. Ooh, just up in the way here a little bit. Gets a nudge from Joey Logano.
I don't believe that Chase Miller is going to be able to pay him back because he can't catch him right now. That's one of those deals where you'll file it away in your memory bank and you pay him back later. That's just the way racers are. They don't like to be tapped, and they put it in their memory bank and they think about it next time they're around that guy. Any guy. You know, it looks like Brad Keselowski's car got that damage fixed. As you're watching Joey Logano here, he's looking good.
Boyer's been solid all night long, but he's looking strong right now. He's got the lead. He's pulled out on these guys a little bit.
Andy, take a look at that left front fender. What's it look like to you now?
You're talking about this 88 car. Looks like they've got it a little bit better. It's still not perfect, but it's a lot better than it was.
Yeah, it looks like they got the top way out where the Goodyear sticker is, on the top right up here. That looks a lot better. Got some damage down to the bottom, which is hurting them a little bit too. Shannon, it looks like it's fixed pretty good, but not 100% yet.
Well, they went to work on that car on that last pit stop. They also made an air pressure adjustment. They are not out of this yet, guys. They see that checkered flag, and they want to win this race, currently running 6th. Expect Brad Keselowski to make it up front once that damage has been fixed a little bit and the car gets back up to pace.
Shannon, right now he's about 0.4 of a second slower per lap than Clint Bowyer is, and here's a battle behind them, the 99 car of David Rudiman, and behind them Rudiman now being shown in the 6th position. Behind them Stephen Wallace and Scott Wimmer battling for 7th spot.
I'll tell you what, Wimmer, he's got a little ground to make up. He's fell back in that last stop a little bit. Been running 2nd this whole race, and now with 34 laps to go, I mean, he's already back to 7th. He's got to get after it if he's going to make these Wisconsin fans happy, that's for sure.
One thing I've seen is tires are worth a lot tonight, because you saw these 66 cars stay out on 2 tires, or got the lead on 2 tires, but he is really a sitting duck. Dave?
And Andy, there's no question the 66 did expect to go backwards, but the recovery is what I'd like to focus on a little bit. They got the lucky dog twice tonight, got the free pass and got their laps back. They were about that early incident. The toe was out on the car. They did a lot of work on this, and Steve was battling before he decided to make the pit stop that way for the 12th position. So this could work out well for him.
Tell you what, they've been working on that right front of that car ever since he got in the wall early. And they were underneath of it with the wrenches working on that toe in, and they kept having to start dead last. And tell you what, he got lucky with the lucky dog, that's for sure.
Looking back from our in-race reporter's car, Jason Leffler in 10th position. That's Mike Bliss, who was one of the early leaders here. Bliss led for 21 laps in the first 50.
Take a look at Bliss. Boy, he really sails that baby down into turn 3. And you know, they got that fresher asphalt on the bottom end, and you can see that's the preferred groove. And boy, when you get out of that black and you get up in that slick part of the track, not as much grip up there. Those guys always fight for the bottom of this track.
Yeah, that's why these guys are trying to set their cars up to run right against that yellow line down there. There is just a little bit more grip on that black part. The blacker the asphalt, the more grip it has.
And it looks like sometimes they get forced up and have to straddle it. The right side on the old asphalt, the left side with the left side tires on the newer stuff. And you talk to drivers, they'll tell you it's a distinct difference from the bottom to the top. Makes you think that maybe they need to repave old Milwaukee here. It's been a long time.
Well, Mike Bliss just drove that car underneath the 38 car and couldn't get it to stick, and then they had to crank that wheel hard to the left. If he can get there again and get it to hold on, here comes Leffler back down.
Well, look at those brake rotors in the right front of both these guys' cars. Really red right now. You can tell they're driving hard. And when that happens, man, those things get hot. Caution, 56 car Travis Kittleson.
A hard impact for Travis Kittleson. And his Chevy has come into the front and rear part of the wall. And will bring out caution here for the 8th time tonight.
He's poked that wall pretty good with the left rear corner. And the left front. Going to bunch these guys up again now. 29 laps to go.
Man, 29. This is one that's really heating up right now. This is where cautions breed cautions, especially on a short track like this. Not that it's so short, but it's flat.
Bowyer was pulling away. He and Edwards had pulled about a 1.5 advantage over Joey Logano, and now they will all tighten back up here with a restart probably with about 25 or 26 laps to go.
None of these guys are coming down pit road. They've got good tires, enough fuel. They're ready to go to the end.
So you're telling me what you got is what you got. Driver, get up on the wheel and bring this baby home, right?
All right, show me what you got.
They'll do it. Some will, some won't.
Actually, one will, and a lot of them won't.
Dale Boyer's car looks good. I like the way this Richard Childress car looks.
Pit road is open, but these leaders should not be coming headed that direction because they've got all the tires and fuel they need. Possibly a few takers at the back of the lead lap. And right now there are 21 cars on the lead lap. And here's the 5 car puffing a little smoke, Landon Castle.
That's not a good sign. That's usually a sign that the car has run out of water for some reason and overheated. When you start seeing that smoke out of the exhaust, this could be bad news for Landon Castle.
Hey, Landon's had a good race going on throughout the night. Doesn't have a dent on that car. Been driving it good.
So we got a cylinder going down, but we're just doing what they want right here.
Yeah, they got a cylinder down, meaning they probably either broke a valve spring or valve, or no telling what's actually caused it, but it's definitely causing a problem.
While we watch the work on the 5 car, let's check in where Mike is caught up with the crew chief for Clint Boyer.
And of course, Dan Daringhoff trying to cash in a victory here with Clint Boyer, make it all worth it, that trip from Sonoma and what have you. But you've got a pretty strong 60 car right behind you. Can you hold them off?
Oh, I hope so. I don't know how much he was holding back there. You know, you get late in the race here in Milwaukee, you're always going to have some cautions, and that BB&T Chevrolet is running pretty good here in this Camping World race, and I hope we can bring it home for him.
We saw some contact with the 20. How's the car? Is there any damage?
There's a little damage on the left front, but it's not in the front of the tire, so I think we'll be all right with it. It's just short track race, and they get banged up, and hopefully that's all the only mark we got on at the end of the night.
Dave?
Well, Drew Blickensderfer in his rookie ride here with the 60 car, doing pretty well from the back toward the front. What's he got left for Clint at the end of this thing?
You know, I think we might be better than them on a long run. The Save-A-Lot Fusion's been pretty good on long runs. We just can't quite get going early in the run, and they get away from us, and we can't catch them. The car's not exactly where it needs to be. We're a little too loose off to run fast enough to catch these guys, but I'm sure he'll give it a run at the end.
Have you felt at home in this seat tonight?
I'm sorry?
Have you felt at home in this seat tonight?
Yeah, you know, if you're a competitor and you're out here racing, I mean, you want to win no matter what car you're working on. So I want to win as much as these guys want to win, as much as Carl wants to win. Everybody else Fenway works really hard to win, so it's pretty easy to jump in here and want to win as much as they do.
Shannon?
Yeah, we're here with Dave Rogers looking for a repeat win here with Joey Logano. You guys have obviously led a lot of laps this race. Do you have anything for the 2 and the 60 this late in the race?
I'm not sure. We're pretty happy with our GameStop Toyota Camry, but I think we fell a little bit behind on our adjustments that time. We didn't free it up quite enough. So it's a little bit snugger than what I want, but we got Joey Logano driving, so we're okay.
He has had some contact on pit road. Can you just explain why that's been happening?
The pit road's just real tight, and he is a rookie. You got to cut him some slack. You know, it's probably the tightest pit road we've been on since Joey's been in the car. So just trying to figure it all out.
All right, well, good luck to you guys.
Tell you what, that guy does a good interview. I like listening to him.
Yeah, he really does. And now the question is, who's your horse? You got some veterans up there, Boyer, Edwards, Reagan, Rudeman, and also the young guys up there, Logano, Keselowski. What about these final 25 or so?
I like Clint Boyer because he's got the lead.
Yeah, me
so
too.
Important.
I totally agree, Andy.
Boyer has already won this year. Carl Edwards has not. How hungry is Carl to be able to get that car to victory lane, given the fact that they made some crew chief adjustments this week? Carl wants it in the worst way.
He wants it in the worst way because we've been telling the world how bad he's been running lately, and he wants to prove us wrong and get this 60 back in the victory lane where it was a lot last year.
Here we go.
He said, I'm going to shut those guys up once and for all, but I got to get by this 2 car first, and he just can't make the move there. Oh, Boyer.
We heard Drew Blickensderfer saying that he had a good long-run car. The only problem is we only got 25 to go, so we got to make it happen now.
But look how that car comes to the bottom. He moves Boyer. He moves Boyer. Look at this.
Boyer hangs on. Edwards goes by. Here comes Logano.
Now, how much does Edwards want to win?
He wants to win real bad. He doesn't care about anybody right now. He wants the bragging rights going back to California tonight.
He's not looking in that mirror right now. He's looking out the front windshield.
Hey, take a look at David Reagan, though. He's pulled up in the back of Clint Boyer, and he's not giving him any slack whatsoever.
If you just joined our coverage, crew chief changed this week. Pierre Cattell, who led that team to a championship, did a great job talking about Carl Edwards, crew chief a year ago. They made a swap this week, and they brought over Drew Blickensderfer from the 17 to the 16, put PK at the 17. And I guess maybe it's chemistry, whatever, but Carl Edwards is driving the best car we've seen this year, probably in the last couple of months.
You better give a lot of this credit to Eric Darnell, though. His kid is good. Darnell is. He set this car up. Carl jumped in it. Now they're fine-tuning it. You just can't say it's all the new crew chief guys. It's a combination of things.
He's still got a little work to do, though. Joey Logano is all over him right here. He's going to have to beat this kid.
Look how smooth that 20 car is getting in and getting off the corner.
Well, the next time,
another wreck.
Chase Miller in the 9 car spins around, and all these cars trying to get woed up, not to hit him in the side.
We just got curved a little bit there, Kirk.
We see this all the time. When we get closer to the end of the race, the intensity level goes up. All these guys are starting to get into each other.
You are exactly right. These cautions, like we talked, just seem like they just keep breeding these cautions. And
like Stephen Wallace gets into the left rear corner, Chase Miller.
And it looks like, let's see, he's not out of the woods yet. Steven gets his left front fender tore off. 3 wide coming off of turn 2, no enough room for that, and they're all in the smoke. It's like a Days of Thunder show right there.
Wallace trying to battle a 38.
No in front of you. Get down.
Like Chase Miller's just been in the wrong place at the wrong time with these leaders. See, these guys were racing really hard for this spot of these lead lap cars.
Go down, go down. Good job.
You can see they're all clogged up there coming off of turn 2 on these restarts.
Yeah, that was a battle for position. Leffler in the 38 car was in 9th. Stephen Wallace in 10th, Bliss in 11th. They were all battling for a spot, and a pretty ripped up fender there in that left front.
Well, that is weird looking there. It looks like they just need to pull that baby back up, and because the bottom of the air dam is still in good shape. Get that stuff called bear bond out, right?
We talked about how the 60 car is running so well, and Rusty, you were giving credit to the driver who set this car up, who's now standing by with Dave.
That's right. This is Eric Darnell. Finished 4th in the truck race last night, so he had some laps here this weekend, knew the track. But how close did you think you got the car for Carl during practice today?
Hard to say, you know, hard to compare driving styles of 2 different people, but I did the best I could getting the car set up. Drew and all the guys did a great job on the Save-A-Lot Fusion earlier today, and you know, Carl had to start in the back, and he's just been driving his tail off tonight. And, you know, I hope I did a good enough job for him. Hope he can go out there and pick up the win.
Are you willing to take some of the credit if he does?
Maybe, but he's really driving his butt off tonight.
All right, young driver has his head together here in the Truck Series full-time and helping out this weekend with the NASCAR Nationwide Series effort as well at Roush Fenway Racing.
Eric Darnell, former Rookie of the Year in the NASCAR Truck Series, was the second fastest car in the final session, driving as a substitute in the 60 car. That's how well that kid did. He's very, very, I guess, humble, but he did a great job.
Well, he did do a great job, and he's been showing in the Truck Series, too, how good he is. I mean, that finish they had last week, Jerry, at Michigan with him and Johnny Benson right to the line was just incredible. So he's proved a lot of people he can drive. He'll get a shot.
We told you it's been over a year since Carl Edwards has been to victory lane. It was last June at Nashville, Tennessee. 36 races ago. No wins. You see the top 5s, top 10s, 521 laps led. What a difference a year makes, you know, after dominating the first half of the 2007 season to go winless now here in 2008. And that could come to an end here tonight.
He's going to get some pressure from this 20 car, though. I can tell you that right now. This kid's on the move, and he's got a fast race car. And Carl's going to have to really get up on that wheel. He's got 20 laps to get it done. Be 19 when they get the green.
We wondered how aggressive Carl Edwards would be because of how much he wants to win one and all that's been said about his winless streak. Well, go back to this restart and watch this move underneath Clint Boyer.
I'm coming through.
And I'll tell you what, we got Joey Logano on the tail of Edwards right now in this restart, and we saw what Joey did early, so he's not afraid to move somebody either. He did it to the 88 car. Actually kind of lost it, which got into him. Let's see what Logano just said on his radio. We had something interesting to hear here.
You know that give and take thing? Yeah. It's out the window, isn't it? Yeah, you got the 60 in front of you and the 2 behind you. I think it's going to be take.
Oh, what kind of advice is that?
Well, we're getting ready to see right here.
Oh, we're about to find out here. Oh, boy. The 2's not a happy camper. He's the points leader. How aggressive can he be? You know Carl Edwards wants it. And what about the 18-year-old who's the meat in the sandwich right now with 20 laps to go? Here they go. Carl just jams that foot in the throttle and pulls away. Now here comes Clint Boyer trying to pull right on the rear of the 20-car of Logano.
Clint Boyer might be Carl Edwards' best friend if he can put some pressure on this 20 car.
Yeah, you know that. Look at Boyer right underneath Logano right now. And Boyer's been really good, but he just didn't get it. The stuff wore off his tires, had a little debris on it, couldn't get it hooked up. And that caused Carl to kind of get into him. He wasn't as fast as Carl in those restarts.
I'm not sure Carl Edwards wants to see that 2-car get by the 20 because it might be payback time.
That might not be his best friend. I forgot about how he got the lead.
It'll be payback time if Clint Boyer gets up there and we get another restart. But he's got to get there first.
Sounds like a used car dealer. I guarantee when I get to him, I'm going to put a bumper to that dude.
Let's see what Clint Boyer can do with the youngster here.
Logano's saying you got to catch me first, you know, and Boyer's got to get that clean air. He's got to get that thing down. Don't want that air to block his nose, because here in this flat racetracks, it just makes your car push the front end so bad. And if it keeps following him instead of getting down low, you can't pass him.
There's another great battle.
Battle for 5th position, Rudeman and Keselowski.
Remember, Keselowski still got some damage to that air dam, which is hurting the front end of that car.
That's definitely hurt this 88 car. He was the best car, basically the best car in the first half of the race, and now he's just struggling to hold on to the top 5.
You can see from that shot right there, at the bottom of the left front tire, Keselowski, that fender is all bent in, and generally that's really out, which gives you downforce in the front end. That's definitely hurting Brad's car. Okay, take a look at this fender right in this position, guys. Right there is where it's hurt. And that is the most critical part on the front of a car for downforce.
Watch him just wiggling that steering wheel back and forth, trying to hang on and slipping up. That's now going to give the opening to Wimmer on the inside.
He was just trying to find a little bit of grip on the bottom of the racetrack and caught that curbing and made the car jump up and move up a lane.
And how about the 11 car behind this group here? Jason Keller trying to get another top 10 finish. Great effort for Keller in the 11.
Okay, Jason has been hanging in there the last 4 or 5 weeks, real steady. We've been talking about him a lot early in our pre-race shows and stuff because he's the guy that we keep talking about might be the next winner to pop up and get something done. But Carl Edwards is looking strong right now. That last time by, Carl Edwards and Logano exactly the same speeds, 30.748 for both of these guys. That's close.
And Carl is leaning that helmet against the window net and hanging on that steering wheel, isn't he? He
is up on that wheel, let me tell you.
Here's Wimmer, the Wisconsin native, saying, you know what, I finished 3rd here, I finished 2nd here, and I'm running out of laps. I definitely want to win one. He's got to get by some cars first. He may be running out of time.
Guys, right now, I tell you, Carl Edwards and Clint Boyer are the 2 quickest cars in the track at the moment. And that changes lap by lap, it seems like, just how they hit their marks on this flat racetrack.
Okay, Rusty, if you're Carl Edwards at this point in the race, there's 12 laps to go. Or how much do you look in the mirror? Do you focus on the racetrack in front of you, or are you actually watching this guy behind you?
I am about 30% of my vision's out the front, 70%'s behind me. And if I got to block him, Andy, late in the race, I'm going to block the guy. That's all there is to it.
How do you make good laps while you're looking in the mirror?
Well, you got to look a little bit in front of you as you're going in the corner. But I'll guarantee you're not looking behind you as you're going in the corner. You're glancing up in the center of the corner, and you're doing a lot of looking in the straightaways.
I know people who raced you for years said you never looked where you were going.
Well, yeah, okay. You got me on that one.
Carl Edwards trying to hang on. Great battle for 6th position, and Wimmer able to get by the 88 car. Now here comes Mike Bliss.
Brad Keselowski is really struggling with this car and that fender damage he got. He got a pretty good shot from Joey Logano.
I know that you know, Tony Uri's seniors up there, Pops we call him, is thinking, man, I wish I could get a hammer on that left front fender and pound that baby out, get that front end down, give this kid another win, because he's had a fast car all day long, and that left front fender's killed a dude.
You got what you got, and Carl Edwards got 10 more laps to get it done.
How about this? Early in the race, I said, that car doesn't look right. That car looks right now, though, doesn't it?
She looks pretty good.
Looks pretty good. And I tell you, still almost exactly the same speeds out of Carl Edwards and Joey Logano. I can't believe how close they're running. The top 4 cars are running all in the 80s, every single one of them. 30-84 every lap, 30-90, 30-90 for all 4 of them. They're moving all over the place, but they're so close.
A moment ago, the 88 car, Brad Keselowski, had some issues. Let's show you what he's been dealing with.
See, he's trying to get that grip on the bottom of the racetrack, and he just clips that curve. You want to be really, really close to that curve, but you don't want to jump up on top of it.
Well, you know, it just didn't upset the car much, but it did let Scott Wimmer get up alongside him for that lap, and that was not a good thing because Wimmer got around him. Good thing for Wimmer.
Yeah, not good for Brad.
Yeah, without a doubt, Brad Keselowski had the best car here tonight, dominating the early part of the race, led 4 times for 145 laps until that contact with a 20 car, and he's basically been a 5th to 7th place car since then.
He's not going to be happy about that because he really did have what he's going to consider the winning race car and really got body slammed out of the lead by Joey Logano.
I tell you what, I liked how his car in the 5-car Landon Castle approached the corner, Andy, and as they approach the corner, the left front falls first. A lot of stuff that we call in the COT stuff jacking force that actually brings that car down to that left front. And a lot of the competitors are seeing this tonight. I can bet you that a lot of guys are going to catch on to this and change it and do it themselves.
Well, now that you told everybody what it was.
Well, it's just my opinion.
Yeah, it is. That's a lot of the setup for these flat tracks is you try to use the forces of the front end geometry to do what you want. Lower the left side of the car when the car goes in the corner.
Pretty good battle for 14th spot in the 18-year-old James Busher in the 32 car for Todd Braun. Gets a spot away. How about Bobby Hamilton Jr.? Give a call to the Ed Renzi guys. How hard has Chris Wright and company worked to get Bobby Hamilton back in the top 15? They think this team's really coming together, and they can't wait to get back to New Hampshire where Bobby has won in the past. Dave?
And Doc, that last stop, they took on 2 right side tires only and made no changes to the chassis, so that was a decent call for them to keep their track position.
Bobby Hamilton Jr. Currently in the top 15. This team has gotten stronger and stronger. Remember, this is not one of the teams that has their relationship with a Cup Series team. They run full-time in the Nationwide Series, and so they said we have an uphill battle each and every week.
How about this 70 car, Mark Green? This is one car that's really impressed me over the last few weeks in our opportunity races. He's made the most of that. He's really had a strong race car, and he's working on this 33 car, Cale Gale.
It's another guy. It's a veteran driver, Andy. I mean, he's been around for a long time, and this doesn't surprise me a lot. I guess what surprised me, the car is not really funded well, and he's doing a good job with this car.
The 70 car is the only car that's owned by a mother-daughter team. It's owned by Mary Louise Miller and her daughter, Stephanie Mullen, a team based in Warsaw, Indiana.
Tell you what, a daughter and a mother owning a team's not a bad deal. I wish my daughter and my wife, Patty, owned my cars because maybe they do own them.
They do own them. You just don't know. You just don't know.
They do the most work, that's for sure.
I'll tell you what, guys, Carl Edwards is 3 laps away from making Jack Roush look like a genius. He's changed these guys around, and look at the result he's getting out of this thing tonight.
So maybe next week the whole field's going to change crew chiefs.
Well, by the way, this is the car he led 123 laps with here a year ago. So it was a good car to start with. So, but yeah, he has driven the wheels off. Eric Darnell did a great job setting it up, and cousin Carl, as we like to call him, as we are buddies, you know, might be getting back into victory lane for the first time in over a year.
And Doc, that last time by, Edwards put 0.2 of a second on Logano. He's pulling away right now.
36 races since his last visit in Nashville, Tennessee in June of 2007. He started from 39th. No, he started from Sonoma, California. That's where he was earlier in the day.
1,500 miles away.
4 hours on a jet airplane, 2 different helicopter rides, back of the field to the front of the field. And the 2007 NASCAR Nationwide Series champion may just be getting back to being a winner in 2008.
Carl's saying, I'm back.
He's going to have a little extra weight in the airplane going home. He'll have the iron in there.
This is because of his head. He's going to have a big head going home tonight.
Coming out of turn 4, and Carl Edwards goes back to victory lane for the first time in 2008.
Awesome. Great job, guys. Great job. Great job.
Tell you what, that was a great recovery from Carl Edwards. Again, you got to give a shout out to Eric Darnell for helping so much with this team.
Joey Logano finishes second, Clint Boyer third, David Reagan, David Rudeman. Reagan and Rudeman also having come from Sonoma, California. Wimmer in sixth, Bliss, Brad Keselowski, Keller, and Leffler rounding out the top 10. Well, let's go down where Mike has caught up with Drew Blickensderfer.
And Doc, you talk about instant chemistry. In race 1 with Carl Edwards, you're able to get to victory lane, something this team has not been able to do in over a year. How were you able to do it?
You know, I learned really good things the last year and a half with Matt on these flat tracks. We ran really good last year on the 17, and we're trying to incorporate some of that in the 60. The 60's been really fast this year on flat tracks, so it wasn't as much as me as maybe trying to instill some confidence in these guys. They worked hard. Eric Darnell helped us out a ton setting this car up, and Jack gives us the opportunity to go out there and win races, and that's what we tried to do today.
Do you still feel bad about leaving Matt?
Oh, of course. Of course. Matt and I, we got along really well. You know, Jack does things for a reason, and hopefully this will make both of us go better.
Instant chemistry, Doc.
Absolutely, and these Wisconsin fans know what this means. This is the backwards victory lap. They nicknamed it the Polish victory lap for Alan Kulwicki, the 1992 NASCAR Cup champion who lost his life in a plane crash. He lived just a stone's throw from this racetrack, and these fans knew exactly what Carl Edwards was doing when he spun around to go backwards, and that's why you heard the big cheer a moment ago.
This is one of the things I love about Carl Edwards. He has a lot of respect for the history of this sport, and he's paying tribute to a great champion in Alan Kulwicki.
And boy, I love that too. You get to look at the fans and thank the fans. I hate these burnouts, Sandy. I love this. I love it when these guys drive around and thank their fans.
Carl Edwards trying to get unhooked, and let's hear from Clint Boyer, the points leader. Dave.
Yep, he's walking around his car, checking things out at the end there. There is some damage, especially with 25 to go when the lead was taken from you. You okay with that?
No, I'm not okay with it. I just didn't expect that of him. We've been pretty good friends for a while, and always race each other hard and clean, and, you know, she'll be on the other foot one of these days, and oh well.
All right, obviously very disappointed with that. Shannon?
Well, in only his fourth start, Joey Logano second place finish. But you had some contact with Brad Keselowski. How much did that change your car?
It didn't really change my car too much. We were good there at the long haul. We were reeling them in, then we got the tires, and the games up to it wasn't the best on new tires until it got warm, and just track tightened up on us there, and we didn't adjust to the track enough. But I guess it's nice to take home a second place after a win. We'd like to be in victory lane again, but I guess we're going to have to take it.
Well, Joey Logano's going to have plenty of opportunities to get to victory lane, guys.
Joey Logano, still an amazing talent. What a great effort coming home in second place tonight. And you see the 88 car pulled up beside him. Remember, these 20 car and 88 crews had a little bit of a tiff at Charlotte a few weeks ago, and Brad Keselowski had the car to beat tonight. That's, by the way, the crew chief for the 20 car, Dave Rogers, giving him a handshake. Guys, point standings, final thoughts on what we saw here at Milwaukee tonight.
Well, I just think that the chemistry we see brewing here with Carl Edwards and his new crew chief, Drew Blickensderfer, really highlights the value of that and getting the right chemistry with these guys and working back and forth.
Guys, I'm just so impressed how the top five, you take a look at Edwards, Boyer, Reagan, and Rudeman, all guys coming from California, finishing in the top five, and I really thought doing that stuff was going to hurt them. But you know what? These good talents rose to the top.
Well, Clint Boyer holds on to the points lead, and the victory celebration is about to begin. Let's go down to victory lane and Mike Massaro.
And Carl Edwards taking off his helmet and putting on a ball cap, getting ready to celebrate. He climbs from his car. A winner for the first time in the last 37 races. Celebrating the emotion, and it appeared to have instant chemistry with your new crew chief, Drew Blickensderfer. What's it like coming out of the box with him this well?
First thing, thanks to PK. I know it's painful for him to watch, and he's the one who prepared this car. And Scott Coletta and his family, that's who we're thinking about today. There's 2 reasons I'm not out there doing backflip. I didn't want to pass Clint that way. I got under him and hit him. And it's just kind of a sad day, but it's a great day for Save-A-Lot team and get it forward in victory lane. And Drew did a great job.
What was it like for you going 37 races as the champion, yet unable to get to victory lane?
Very frustrating. Crowd really wants me to do a backflip. That's funny.
So do we, by the way. We're going to count on that.
I'll do it next time. Trust me. Today's just not the day. But really, it felt bad going that long. And I don't know. It just it's good to be back. The guys never gave up. And my fans never gave up on me, and even these fans who aren't too happy right now, I appreciate them coming out here. And I know it's tough times right now, and Ford Motor Company and Save-A-Lot and all these guys are doing the best they can, and man, it just feels good to win a race.
The defending champion, Alan, back in victory lane.
And Mike, I have a feeling when the folks in the grandstand hear Carl Edwards interviewed on the PA and hear why he didn't do the flip, they'll understand.
Sure, absolutely, Alan.
And next week, it's on to New Hampshire.
Hey, we get to go back to another flat racetrack. You saw tonight, you have to be willing to beat, bang, and move someone to get to the front. That's what we're going to see next week in New Hampshire.
NASCAR Nationwide Series Camping World RV Sales 200. ABC next Saturday from New Hampshire, starting with NASCAR Countdown at 2:30 Eastern Time. Up next, NHRA coverage from Englishtown, New Jersey. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Carl Edwards started this race back in 39th position. Got to the front, little contact with Clint Boyer. In the end, though, Carl Edwards will take the trophy back on the long trip to Sonoma, where he starts 12th in the Cup race on Sunday.